Wow, what a day. What a day. What a day. I was waiting for a while to come on here because I thought there was a chance maybe on the day before the deadline that we might see some late night business conducted. And so I wanted to make sure that the shop was closed for the day. And once the 10 o'clock hour, and it may have been a little excessive, but once the 10 o'clock hour came, I was fairly convinced that shop was closed for the day and that there'll be no more deals. And so I said, okay, I'll come on and just do a little Twas the night before the trade deadline live. And so we saw another minor move today, defenseman. And I said this was coming because once I heard that FITZ had mentioned something about a defenseman, it seemed like the writing was on the wall that a defenseman would be brought in. I know it was disappointing to a lot of people, that was the move that came today. But I have maintained for weeks now, I expect the Devils' moves or any moves of substance, if you will, or more substance. I'm not going to say this wasn't of substance, but anything juicier would, in fact, come out on deadline day and possibly even at the last possible minute. I do think FITZ is playing some high-stakes poker with some other GMs throughout the league. I'm sure at this juncture, he is probably kicking the tires on several players and trying to figure out what move or moves he thinks best help this New Jersey Devils club. But we start free agency. We start our trade deadline, crawling towards it with a trade a lot of people were disappointed with, and that is the Devils picking up Brian Dumoulin from Anaheim in exchange for unsigned draft choice Herman Traff and a 2025 conditional second-round pick, Anaheim retaining 50% of his contract. At first, my initial thoughts were obviously, this is almost a nothing move, in my opinion. It's not. I don't want to say it's a nothing move, but FITZ was looking for a defenseman prior to Dougie getting hurt, with just Siegenthaler being down, having to rely on Nemitz going towards the playoffs was probably less than ideal in FITZ's mind. And then once Dougie went down, I said it I said it after that last pathetic Stars game that, FITZ wanted a defenseman before that. So in my opinion, it's definitely happening now that Dougie also went down. At that point, we'd be relying on, Nemitz and Casey, or Nemitz and Hataka, or possibly Casey and Hataka. But either way, he wasn't comfortable with Nemitz alone. He's certainly not going to be comfortable with Nemitz and another guy who's considered to be a depth defenseman. And so the writing was on the wall, in my opinion. And I said this the other day, a defenseman is coming. Dumoulin is it. It seems like a slight overpayment on, initially hearing it. I'm not. Listen, I've said from the beginning, I am going to wait till the shop is closed officially, which is going to be tomorrow at around 3 p.m. Well, the deadline's at 3. We sometimes hear deals trickle in a little bit after that. And so, call it 3:15-ish. We will know what was done. And so I'm just trying to kind of take it all in. I'm just trying to look up something real quick. I'm just trying to see when. What is the date on this? I can't find it. But either way, a lot of people freaked out because, Dumoulin was, I think the Ducks got him for a 4th rounder, but people don't realize the premium come deadline time. But the writing was on the wall. We get Dumoulin, burn one of our assets. Again, just to rewind a little bit, the only true assets I believe that the Devils were really working with at this deadline were the 3 second-round picks, and they could actually only trade 2 of them because one of them is a conditional pick tied to the Jake Allen deal. So that one's locked up. So you have 2 second-round picks to start. We just used one in this deal. So we're down now to 1 second-round pick possibly Dawson Mercer, you would believe, Seamus Casey and or Shimo Nemitz, and then obviously the 2026 first-round pick. So those were the main pieces, in my opinion, that we have without gutting the roster going into this deadline. And now with Jack being down, a lot of people are salivating over the $13 million of LTIR money. And I am very interested to see, a lot of people think that Fitz is going to use the money and we're going to make all these big acquisitions. I personally can't call it. If I had to pick, if I had to guess, I would say that's not happening. But the move for Dumoulin could be a precursor to one of the young defensemen being moved as well. And so it could be nothing tied to that. It could just be simply, like I said, Fitz wanted a defenseman before Dougie went down. Clearly, he would rather have a veteran defenseman than Nemitz in the lineup. Once Dougie went down, you're now talking about Nemitz and another young guy. And so he gets the veteran D. Seems like a slight overpayment. Again, I'm not making a big deal out of it because I am waiting to see the whole puzzle here. Waiting to see the whole puzzle. A lot of people freaking out. X was melting down as predicted. Could this be a precursor to one of the young D-men being moved? Maybe, maybe not. But I am reserving judgment until tomorrow at 3:15. Once the deadline closes at 3 o'clock, what is going to happen? I will say, and I've thought this from the beginning, that I think the Rantanen rumors are pretty ridiculous. I mean, the odds of Carolina, first and foremost, Carolina trading a high-end player to a division rival and a team that they very well could end up seeing in the first round. It just seems super unlikely from that standpoint alone. Furthermore, I don't know what the Devils would have to give up to obtain Rantanen. It would have to be some obscene package, which I wouldn't want to pay. And then the cherry on the Sunday there is Rantanen's going to be looking for a $12, $13 million contract. I have no interest in paying that man anywhere near that kind of money. And Tom Fitzgerald shouldn't either. That money could be way better spent elsewhere on probably, you could get two solid players for a $12, $13 million combined cap hit. To give Rantanen even $12 million, I think would be gross negligence. I personally have no interest in it, and I hope Fitz doesn't either. But it seems like he did inquire, according to multiple sources. It's a puzzling one, and I hope that never materializes. I know a lot of people were licking their chops, but I think at this point, a lot of Devils fans are just desperate for any sort of name. And I don't think Rantanen is the guy. And especially given the money, I don't think it's a wise investment on the Devils' part. But tomorrow we will see what happens. My personal hopes, if we could get 2 out of 3 of, someone like McCann, O'Reilly, who else? Donato's still out there. It seems like there's going to be stiff competition for him. But $12 or $13 for Rantanen, I personally have no interest. And really hope the Devils don't go in that direction because, like I said, I think they would have to give up a ton in a package to just trade for him. And then I don't think Fitz is going to make that trade unless he's either signed before or Fitz knows he could sign him. And so for me, that's crazy money for what Rantanen is. He's a great player, but I think there's other players that would fit the team better. And furthermore, again, that kind of money, you could get 2 guys. But let's see what you guys are talking about. Traveling Devil looks like Fitz is mad he waited too long. A lot of the guys are still out there, so I can't say he waited too long. We're going to find out tomorrow what he's made of. Traveling Devil Pettersson rumors. Anyone else hear about them? I've seen some people kind of talking about that as well. Pettersson, everything I just said about Rantanen applies to Pettersson as well. No interest, too much money. I don't think he's the type of player that is going to move the needle. I want different kinds of guys. And for that money, again, think it's better spent elsewhere. And I'm not interested in Pettersson either. I'm a hard pass. Jack McCabe says pass. Too much risk, might be BS. Doubt he moves. G. Piercy says get well, Jack. Yeah, what a shame. What a damn shame. Chris, you think they're going to trade Mercer tomorrow? I think it's a possibility. I think it's definitely a possibility. But I don't think it's going to happen unless Fitz is trying to bring in, multiple kind of bigger name pieces. If I had to guess, I would say no, but I definitely think he's one of the only roster guys I think Fitz would dangle out there. Obviously, there's the looming situation with Kovacevic. We don't know what the contract talks may have been between Fitz and his agent. That could play a part in Kovacevic getting moved out. That could also be kind of tied to the Dumoulin deal. So there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of interesting things kind of moving in the background, and we're going to have all of our answers in 16 hours. Mark says Quinn is going to be a Devil at the deadline. Absolutely not, Mark. There's zero chance that happens tomorrow. Go Boro. Just saying it's good to see you. A's kind of confused about this Dumoulin move. Wonder how it must make Casey feel, but I guess welcome to NJ. Doesn't come as a surprise to me. He said he wanted a defenseman, and that was before Dougie got hurt. So once Dougie got hurt, I was pretty damn convinced that a defenseman was going to be here. SST, Fitz going to deliver tomorrow. Don't lose trust in him, folks. Chris, absolutely not, Mark, but I think he will be in a couple years. I mean, that remains to be seen. I think he's going to at least, test the waters in unrestricted free agency to see what the Devils, would be able to pay him at that point. Brian J says there'll be no other moves. I can almost guarantee he's a gutless GM. I don't think that's going to happen either. I think at a minimum we're getting a forward. But I'm curious to see, how impactful of a forward that guy is going to be. Jack gave up a ton for Dumo, but that's the market. Another defensive defenseman won't hurt, especially with the injuries. In no circumstance can a playoff caliber team like this play Nemitz and Casey. Yeah, that's a pretty dangerous proposition going into the playoffs with two guys that are rather inexperienced. And we're going to see how this all shakes out. 16 hours. Andy MC, please no Pedersen. He's so rattled this year. No way he recovers in the next 20 games. I want no parts of him at all. Go Boro, still waiting. Got hopes on O'Reilly plus Donato. I think that would be a fairly successful deadline for Fitz. I don't think it could get much better than that. Obviously, I do think O'Reilly and McCann would be more successful, but O'Reilly and Donato, I think, would be a pretty damn good deadline day. Jack says Nichols believes the Devils get two forwards tomorrow. I'm kind of more thinking along those lines right now. I think one is almost a guarantee, and I think there is a good chance at two. Ritter Engine, why didn't we try to utilize Hataka or Villain? Yeah, Villain seems to be another guy that's kind of buried way down there, and I guess Fitz is really putting an emphasis and a premium on the experience. I think he's very nervous about playing two inexperienced kids down the stretch and into the playoffs. And it makes sense. I mean, but I am obviously more worried about the forward group than I was about the defense. Vic says, reports say the Devs are seriously interested in O'Reilly. I would love to see that happen. Ryan and respect Nelson truly on the block, it looks like. Again, at the right price, Brock Nelson's another guy I'd be interested in. Alice, please repeat the trade news when you can. There really isn't any other news other than the deal that they made earlier today for Dumoulin, the defenseman. Lots of nonsense kind of speculation. I don't think there's any credible rumors out there at this juncture. But let me see. I haven't looked in a couple minutes. But a lot of it's just all speculation and nonsense. I'm just trying to take a little look here. Jack, love seeing the Devils in on O'Reilly. Would be a huge ad for the season and the next two. Center depth of Hughes, Hischier, O'Reilly would be sick next year. I'd be thrilled with O'Reilly. Guy's a winner. And he's got a little feistiness to him. Brian J says, hope and wishing is what Fitz does best. Maybe the owners are handcuffing him. And again, that's one of my biggest kind of worries is that is that actually the case? The first real big, I guess, red flag for me was last year not using Dougie's LTIR money. That is extremely damning in my opinion. And, most GMs would be licking their chops to be able to spend $9 million in LTIR money. Furthermore, GMs in the league would be ecstatic. I mean, not ecstatic, obviously, because it comes at the expense of Jackhughes being injured, but the possibility of having $13 million of LTIR money at a trade deadline is nearly unheard of and a very rare set of circumstances. And if Fitz does not capitalize on this, I fear that, it shows where he's at in his kind of maneuvering for the Devils. Pro Bowl forever. O'Reilly would be a great veteran presence on the Devils. Trotz will probably want a huge haul for O'Reilly, though. It seems like everybody, in the league wants a huge haul for everything. SST, my trusted NHL sources said to me, O'Reilly plus a second is coming to NJ for Mercer. I would like to see a different deal than that. Again, I think O'Reilly makes his team better, but it's almost a lateral move. One decent forward out and a better one in, but it still doesn't really help the depth any. Vic says, Fitz says he's going all in, but I don't think he'll do anything too spectacular. Rob Wilson says, I'm calling it punt. I certainly don't hope so. Army says, Mercer ain't going anywhere. I wouldn't be so sure of that. Pro Bolt Forever says, Miko is a McKinnon merchant. I mean, definitely a fair question. I think he's struggled a bit. Let me just take a look. He hasn't been fitting in seamlessly in Carolina. And I think that was a big question mark of a lot of people was, how much of Rantanen's production was because he played on a line with Nathan McKinnon, one of the best players in the league. I mean, yeah, the fall off is dramatic. Small sample size. He's only been in Carolina for 13 games, but he had 25 goals and 39 assists for 64 points in 49 games in Colorado this year. You're talking about, 1.3 points a game. And since he's gotten to Carolina in 13 games, he has 2 goals and 4 assists for 6 points. That's less than half a point a game. You're talking about a massive fall off in production. And maybe he is fool's gold. I don't know. But either way, I could tell you, if I'm the Devils, I wouldn't want to touch him with a 10-foot pole. I have zero interest. NJ Swamp Fox says, peeps who have watched the press say Ryan O'Reilly is washed up. I'm not buying it, and I think a change of scenery could do him really good. He's a winner. He's been down the road before. He's got that dog in him. And what are we talking about, guys? He has 39 points in 58 games, which would put him probably at, let's see where that would put him on the Devils. His 39 points would be good for 6th. 6th leading scorer behind Jack, Jesper, Nico, Timo, and Dougie. Zach says, I see Miko staying in Carolina. Yeah, I mean, if they want a crazy return for him, I could see other teams being like, we're not going to pay that price, especially if there's not a sign and trade involved, to just obtain him as a pure rental, which is what the Hurricanes essentially did, right? He wasn't signed. So I'd imagine they, traded for him with the hopes of signing him long-term. And then at some point, since he was traded from Colorado to Carolina either realized that he didn't fit nearly as good as they thought he would, or he wants too much money, or a combination of both. But either way, trying to trade him at the deadline while you have cup aspirations couldn't wreak more of buyer's remorse. The Carolina Hurricanes right now have absolutely buyer's remorse, and they're trying to pawn him off on somebody else. I could see a lot of teams playing hardball if they were trying to get him, again, because you're going to have to give up substantial assets to get him in the trade, and then you're going to have to pay him a ton unless you're just going to gamble the assets on a pure rental, which would be psychotic and possibly career suicide for most of the GMs around the league. And for that reason, I do think there is a very good chance that Carolina is stuck with him. RME says McCann is the guy we need. He's definitely on my list. Go Boro says Pedersen, nope. Vic says Nucks aren't trading him, no way. Pla Pla says bring in Brock and Brock. I'd be ecstatic with that. AEP Snow, hey man, I just started watching your streams a few months ago, and I really appreciate your takes on hockey. Any advice for how to succeed as a new coach? Oh boy. Are you a coach, AEP Snow? How to succeed as a new coach? I would say that's a tough one. I would say study the coaches who have had success in the league. Go Boro, $11 million cap hit, terrible form. Seen Vancouver fans call him Pansy Petey. AP Snow, I've coached for 2 years, but it was a lower level school, and now I'm at a better school with higher expectations. I'm finding it tough to figure out how to find my role and succeed. Are you talking about hockey or a different sport? Sir Beerus, just want to hop in on these Pedersen talks. For the love of God, no. He's the softest quitter I've seen. His numbers are flattering in the playoffs, just like some of the Leaf stars. I have no interest in him. None whatsoever. RME, McCann and O'Reilly. Donato is shooting over his head. I would love McCann and O'Reilly. That would be a win for me on deadline day. Husky Unchained, we're already shallow in our forward group. Trading Mercer would make it worse. Yeah, I would love to bring in any combination of a lot of these guys everyone's talking about without subtracting a quality forward from our lineup, and trading Mercer would be that. Now, if we were trading Mercer in a deal with some other things and we're getting 2 guys in return, to me, that's a net of +1 quality NHL forwards. Go Boro, what are the chances we could dump Palat Hall in a trade tomorrow? I would say slim to none, virtually non-existent. Yeah, Jack says, go Boro, no chance. Benjamin, we can talk semantics all night, but it's been decades since anything has worked out. Our front office sucks. It's a fair criticism. A lot has gone wrong as of late. I'm waiting to see how tomorrow plays out before I weigh in my final opinion. A lot of people are already freaking out with the first trade from today. I do think more deals are going to come. The magnitude of them, I have no idea, because we do have this looming, this $13 million in LTIR space. And again, most GMs in the league would find a way to use every penny of that, whether they played banker like Fitz likes to do on other deals by retaining salary and just picking up picks and other assets along the way, or straight up acquiring the players, who make money that will maybe come close to that number. But we're going to find out. Lots of guys still available. What's Fitz going to do? He now has, let's see. My brain is shot. He has 16 hours to go. Ride and respect. I think it might be an underwhelming deadline, and we'll get the "I trust our guys in the room" speech. Oh, if we get that, everyone already knows. If that's the rhetoric that comes out of tomorrow, social media will definitely be in a full-blown meltdown, and people will be calling for Fitz's head from everywhere. I believe the noise will be deafening. People will be out for blood because they already are. And I said, I'm going to wait, guys. I told everybody, I'm just going to sit and wait while people are melting down. I said, I'm waiting. The deadline's not over. When the deadline's over and I see the whole vision and the whole chessboard, that's when I will give my final assessment. Ace hates all my names. 4 guys I'm interested in: Casey, Middlestat, O'Reilly, Donato, and Nelson. Yeah, I think any 2 of those guys on that list there would be a sizable improvement for this Devils, and I think maybe just the kind of shot in the arm that they need for this home stretch. Fentanyl Floyd wouldn't mind an O'Reilly trade, would have him for 2 more years. Yeah, I also think Fitz is not going to be foolish and go out there and obtain a pure rental. I think he is going to be looking for guys with term that could help us beyond this year, because obviously our roster, needs a lot of improvement heading into next season. Jack Palat will leave in the offseason, whether some team takes his contract with or without a sweetener or he's bought out. This is his last year as a Devil. I'm not so sure. I think it's a good chance, but I don't think it's a guarantee. Richard Tompkins, Fitz needs that Vegas GM mentality. Oh, you could only wish. Absolute killer. Win now, killer. SST, Fitz will trade for another right-handed D-man tomorrow too, a replacement for Dougie, and I'd support that move. Rob, yes, thank you for bringing up the Dougie LTIR money not being used. Still bothers me. Still makes no sense. It basically was part of punting on the season. They didn't believe in the group. It was a slap in the face to the team, in my opinion. And the owners didn't want to spend the money on a season where they felt they couldn't truly compete. And so they said, punt, get the high draft pick. And that's what they did. Again, I'll never agree with it. It makes me furious. I do believe it is complete loser mentality. And I do think that had psychological damage on our group. Some people will agree with me, some won't, but I will never be convinced otherwise. After the year we had in 22-23, to then follow it up the next year with a complete stinker while the team drowned because of horrible goaltending, and then to make it worse, you go and get 2 goalies at the deadline when the season was already over. I mean, it's just maddening stuff. Vic, I heard the Devils will try to dump Palat's contract tomorrow, but I doubt it, but for sure in the offseason. Natural Canopy, heard something about, I'm assuming that's supposed to say Pedersen. Vic, JJ to the Rags is still under discussion at the moment. Kilgill, holy shiznit, the Rangers might actually catch the Devils for the 3rd spot. It's obviously a concern. Jack, O'Reilly has been playing with a shit team with old, slow line mates all year in Nashville. Give him some young guys with skill, and he'd be good, I bet. I'm willing to take the chance. See if you could give him a little career revitalization here towards the end. Vic says, I feel like Marchand may stay in the East if traded. He's a guy, I said, because of his attitude, another winner, another kind of agitator type of guy. I would love him on the Devils. I don't know how realistic that one would be, but I would welcome it. Andrew, rest of season, playoff ceiling without Hughes. Well, I'm hoping they find a way to get into the playoffs. And then anything could happen. In my opinion, you just get to the playoffs. Hopefully your team starts to kind of get it together, kind of get a little hot. And obviously you're going to need strong goaltending play, but I do believe with Jacob Markstrom, this team is still capable of going on a run. The defense and goalie play has been great for most of the season. It comes down to, is this team going to be able to score some goals? And I think that could definitely be helped tomorrow with the addition of a couple forwards. I think could go a very long way with this team. Cerberus. Rantanen is going to free agency in a few months no matter what, I think. So, yeah, agreed. Yeah, Carolina's probably going to get stuck holding the bag. And if they can't trade him tomorrow and they're stuck with him, outside of them winning a cup, assuming, let's just say they get to the second or third round and then get knocked out, if they do not sign him back, I think fans are going to be furious down there because of the trade they made with Natchez and everything to get him. And for it to end up being a pure rental would be a tough pill to swallow for a lot of their fans. Natural Canopy, Panthers helped us out tonight. Yep, the win over Columbus. Tomorrow's game is huge. We need to win. SST, after tonight's Columbus loss, I'm confident we're going to make the playoffs. This is going to be a rare moment when my prediction was wrong. Vic, Jack, I saw that too, but I still think there's a chance he stays in the East. David Chimes, Fitz is swinging. No way he'd pay for cap sharing on the Dumoulin otherwise. Probably doing LTIR games on Siegs. He's not calling it quits. Number 2 goals against the game in the season ain't close to lost. I agree with you, but I'm also not going to be as optimistic as everybody else that the retention on that deal means that he's using all of the other money. I find that hopeful, I believe. I can understand why people are saying that, but I've seen enough from the organization. And again, the Dougie LTIR money last year, I could see this being a scenario where they did the retention just to straight up save a buck. I hope I'm wrong, but I now have to think that way and be slightly pessimistic because of what we saw last season. By no stretch am I under the impression that because there was retention involved, that we're going on a spree to use up all the other money. I just cannot believe it. Cerberus. Fitz is just trying to get us into the playoffs to say, look, guys, I made moves. Trust the process. Oh, if I hear that. Brian J. Ace, have you given up on Mercer? Don't want to trade him for a rental or an old O'Reilly. I haven't given up on Mercer, but I realize he's the only roster player I think that we might consider trading outside of Nemitz and Casey, if you're including them as like roster players. But we don't have much else. And so if the right deal presents itself, I would do it. But I would prefer not to trade him because, like I said before, getting one forward back and sending him out, while it might be an upgrade of a forward spot, we still are in need of additional forwards to push some of the guys out. Cerberus, as much as I don't want to be a doomer or loser mentality guy, this team has no shot at winning the cup. Sell, sell, sell. Oh, you're disgusting. That is a loser mentality guy. Get out of here. Make the playoffs at all costs. Playoffs or bust. Period. Nothing else is acceptable. That is loser mentality. And the players don't want to hear it. It is a slap in the face to the entire locker room. You're going to say, oh, you only believe in us when Jackhughes is on the team? Again, I said this last night. This is not the New Jersey Hughes or the New Jersey Jacks. This is the New Jersey Devils. We play for the crest on the front of the jersey, not the name on the back. We still have tons of talented guys on this roster, and I still believe in them. Vic, after all, Boston is not that high in the standings and might not make the playoffs, so I feel like they wouldn't care if they traded him to an Eastern team. Maybe, maybe not. I could see that going either way. Jack, I wouldn't mind Marchand on the Devils, but Fitz has proved he's not interested in high-cost, big-name rentals. I could see that being a thing there. I would sign him. I would love to have him signed for a couple years. Roman Czechmonic, the first trade is bad because he can still strike out. He did it in reverse. This trade on its own, it's a useless overpay. He has to get at least a top 6 and a center, and it's a bad spot to be in. I could see that. I could see that kind of train of thought. SST says the second-round pick we're getting in a Mercer trade will be used with another second pick and a prospect to get McCann. Mercer loss will be replaced by McCann. I hope that's not what happens. Mark, don't care who we get. Just want the locker room to step on and hold themselves accountable. 19 games to go. Out there and find our identity without Jack. Win it for 86. I like it. I like it. SJ, who can they get that don't cost the first? Well, if you're willing to deal, Mercer, Nemitz, Casey, if all these names are on the table, I think they could get tons of guys without a first. The question is, what are you going to pay? Natural Canopy, if we miss the playoffs, scale of 1 to 10, how gone is Fitzgerald? Oh, man. It should be missing the playoffs is an immediate termination. I don't think that's the case, though. Whether I agree with it or not, I just think the reality is he could be shielded for a while. Riot and respect. Per David Pagnotta, the door isn't closed on Palmieri signing just yet. New York Islanders are exploring trade options, but plan to circle back in the AM before making the final call. Oh, boy. Benjamin, remember when Lou tried to give us a chance with Housley? Me too. Another random Hall of Famer that came through the that came through the Devils organization amidst the glory years. Garrett, Ace, I expect Fireman's merchandise if nothing more is done at the deadline. That'll definitely be my mantra, but I don't know. I don't know if I have it in me. I don't think I'm that evil-spirited to make the merch. But if someone else was selling it, I might buy it. Ace hates all my names. By the time you read this, I'll be gone. I hate we went over a pick and prospect for Domo, but at least Anaheim retains 50% of his salary. Night, guys. Thanks for the channel, Ace. Love the integrity, bro. Have a good night. Have a good night. Trevor, the move in price indicates that FITZ is most likely all in. Otherwise, just play your young D-men, or FITZ is a dumbass. That's also possible. Well, it's definitely possible. And again, it could be the first step in a master plan that he has, but there's no guarantee that the master plan comes to fruition. So these are all valid concerns. I hear all of the people that are super negative about FITZ, and in the end, I get all of it. I am waiting until tomorrow at 3, or like I said, 3:15, because maybe sometimes the last-minute deals leak out a little late. Before I go scorched earth, I need to see what else happens. And I think there is a lot of coals in the fire, as they say, but I'm waiting to see, trying is not enough. You must deliver results. This is a results-oriented business. Trying is not good enough. You must deliver. Mark, prepare to hear the old, it takes 2 teams to a trade and we can't mortgage a future from FITZ tomorrow. If that happens, those chants are going to be loud. They are going to be loud. Jack, if they miss the playoffs, FITZ should be fired the second the horn sounds on the third period of the last game. But with Jack out, I feel like he may be safe, which I would hate. That's a concern for everybody. I really think it's a fair concern. Vic says if we miss, he should be canned. Sir Burris, FITZ tomorrow. We can't mortgage the future. Also FITZ today. Second round pick for an old defender. Mark, SST, Timo needs to be at right wing permanently. Unbelievable that Keefe continues to play him at left wing. Is it really unbelievable at this point? I'm really not stunned. There's got to be some analytics or something behind it that they keep doing it. But he clearly favors the right side. It's undeniable. I talked about this at length on a live and in a video. He always drives to the right side. Whenever he picks up the puck in open ice and he has space, he always goes to the right. Because he's a left-handed shot, it makes perfect sense. And so if that's the side he favors, put him on the right wing. I mean, it's just very basic stuff. Big Ben, what's your dream deadline day haul? I guess if I'm being realistic, my dream deadline day haul would be, probably O'Reilly and McCann. That I think that's somewhat based in reality. That could be a pipe dream, but I think that's a somewhat realistic kind of scenario. And so I would say something along those lines, like O'Reilly and McCann, I think would be a pretty good addition, a little bolster to this team. Woodson, I love how we use first and second round picks on 33-plus-year-old players. SJ, they needed a lefty, but the price was steep. Dumoulin is decent, though he will help. Mark Costanza, FITZ loves his 30-year-old players. Natural canopy, I'd lose it if Rantanen goes back to the Avs in free agency. I think there's probably a very good chance of that, honestly. And who knows, maybe this was a huge collusion by the Avs to do this all along. What a stroke of genius that would be. Trevor, if it almost a guarantee we get Quinn, maybe Jack and Luke already know, move out Nemitz and Casey. I don't know why everyone's so obsessed with Quinn Hughes. I mean, he's a great player. But in the end, when you look at this team now, I mean, an offensive defenseman is not the missing link. The missing link is a guy like Brady Tkachuk. That's the reality, not Quinn Hughes. But the marketing team and all the fans just can't resist getting caught up in Hughes mania. Jack McCabe, forwards be damned, get D-men and play the trap. John Woodson, it's hilarious how bad FITZ is, but this is what we get for trying to make the playoffs in a seller's trade deadline market. It is what it is. This is the situation he put himself in, and now he's got to navigate these waters. The gated shift, no, there's no punting on the season. That'd be a catastrophic failure. Last season was obvious, but this team has zero excuse to miss the playoffs, cannot punt. Beautifully said, the gated shift. We are in a playoff spot right now. Not doing everything in your power to bring in help to make this team better is a straight-up slap and spit a loogie in the face of each and every one of those players in the Devils locker room. It cannot happen. It absolutely cannot happen. Ben Jamin, sick of folding for the future, 100%. Stanley 62495, I predict we'll all be watching trades go down tomorrow for reasonable prices and then wonder why our Putz GM couldn't be in on that action, or he'll overpay for another defenseman. Rip Rogers, Smokey Johnson, fingers crossed for Donato, Besser, and Nelson. Oh, yeah, and I keep forgetting about Besser and Nelson. They're on the list as well. So if you're talking about any two guys out of the list of O'Reilly, McCann, Donato, Besser, Nelson. There's probably a couple others I'm forgetting. Any two guys out of there would probably be a very nice, somewhat realistic haul for the Devils. But who knows? Maybe Fitz is really trying to bring in something even bigger than that no one's even talking about. We'll see. Maybe he has some tricks up his sleeve. David, if Buffalo is selling, I'd love Ryan McLeod for bottom 6. Buffalo declared they don't want to sell that much, but McLeod is a rental. There's a couple other guys I would like off Buffalo too. I would love Tuck or Tage Thompson. I think, Buffalo might be clutching onto Tage Thompson for dear life, but if they're ever to trade him, I would love him. He's a beast. Cerberus, if the locker room doesn't want to be treated like losers, then stop being losers. Looking at everyone on forward, not named Brat and Nico. I think Timo Meyer would like a word with you. Jack, but seriously, this team has elite goaltending and defense, stuff you need to truly contend. Get a few forwards. You still have 3 all-star caliber guys with Nico, Timo, and Brat. Go for it. I agree. JC Fowler, it's Timo time. When Jack went down last year, Timo stepped up. Time to do it again. The march of Myers underway. 2 goals in the first 3 games. Jack McCabe, one guy isn't going to make or break the team. I agree with that, but I think two of the right types of players could go a long way. Resting Guitar Face got here a little late. Any thoughts on the theory that today's trade is a preemptive move to get a bigger fish with a round 2 pick in either Nemitz or Casey? It could be possible, but there's no way to know. People are also speculating that because there was retention involved, that Fitz is going to somehow use up all $13 million of the LTIR money. I don't know. And the one thing I will touch back on this point is Fitz was on record saying he wanted a veteran defenseman, before Dougie went down. And so if he wanted a defenseman before Dougie went down to probably get Nemitz back out of the lineup for this stretch and into the playoffs, he didn't trust Nemitz, it seems. With Dougie down, it was all but a guarantee he was going to bring in a defenseman because he wanted one already, with just Nemitz kind of being the guy on the outside looking in. And then with Dougie down, it was a no-brainer. And so I'm not looking too much into it. It could be tied to moving one of the kid defensemen, but it also very well could be just trying to not have to dress an inexperienced defenseman down the stretch and into the playoffs. John Woodson, Fitz secret to building a contender is drafting glass and adding over-the-hill players with a good year or two. Vic says, I'd cry if we trade Casey. I probably would too. Brandon, I don't know about that trade we did today. I think we paid too much for a guy that's 33 years old. We're almost starting to look like a retirement home. I mean, 33 is not 60, guys. I love how you guys act like 33 is like, near death. It is funny to me that everyone overreacts to the age stuff. Jack says, if Isles don't trade Nelson and Palmieri, it's malpractice. John Woodson, Fitz will panic by tomorrow to save his ass. New cup window will be 2035. Oh, no. It can't happen. Fentanyl Floyd says the Hughes injury bought Fitzgerald at least another year. Again, I hope that there should be no excuses. Injuries are part of the game. He slid off of the injury bullshit last year. It can't happen 2 years in a row. Evan, how do you feel about the trade we made today? It's not a hugely significant one, in my opinion. I understand why Fitz did it. I do think he's slightly overpaid, but in the end, I am not too bothered by it. I am waiting to see, like I've said before, I want to see what the total picture of what our deadline acquisitions look like before I really, bring out the butcher knife and just start carving. I'm waiting to see. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. He has till 3 o'clock tomorrow. Mark Costanza, Nico Sturm, a career average of 60.1 on faceoffs, was traded for a 4th-round pick. I saw a lot of people up in arms about that. Obviously, I would have loved to bring him in for a 4th-round pick, but maybe Fitz has, grander visions. We don't have the answers yet, but we will tomorrow. Damien, they officially have both Vanacek and Kakinen. If they win a cup with both those goalies on their official team, what does that say about us? That's never going to happen. SST, Lazar and Bastion will be traded or waived tomorrow. That's interesting. Ride and Respect says Wild fans fuming over their trade right now. I didn't see that one. I saw something that out of every single 1st-round pick Vegas has had, they have traded the player they picked or the pick itself every single time except one time. Yeah, that's win now moves, guys. That's what I've been begging for since that 22-23 season. In my opinion, as I said a million times, that was my true kind of win now moment where it's like, okay, you now have to operate as a win now team for the foreseeable future because the pieces should be in place. And last year we did not see it. David Chimes, booze face merch would meme like crazy. Natural Canopy says, I'll take future considerations for Nate Bashan at this point. Guys, useless. I don't think you could get future considerations for him, honestly. Mark, Ace, you're going to be upset when Ryan O'Reilly gets traded to another team for a second, third, and a prospect. It depends. Again, if we do nothing, then absolutely. If somehow we're getting better pieces than that, then no. But in a vacuum, I would sign up for that deal in a second, assuming the prospect wasn't one of our best prospects. It depends on who you're putting in there as the Devils prospect. That's the huge question mark in your scenario, in my opinion. Woodson, it's well known you don't deal with the Ducks GM. He only accepts overpayments. Go Boro, Marchand, Hischier, Meyer would be a line I'd actually really dig. That'd be a great line. Would be a very good line. Stick Figs, I know I kid about it often, but I have FITZ on the line in an hour. Should I tell him to consider the possibility of including your channel in the move? And do you have any no trade clauses? No, I don't. It'd only be possible if Ace becomes, I don't know what this is in reference to. Something about McDermott, I guess. Jack, should have traded for Sturm 2 months ago. Malpractice that Fitzgerald didn't improve the team back in January when the season was slipping. Yeah, I agree. Something should have been done by February, like early February. The writing was on the wall. Just to be clear, I'll tell you. I pressed the panic button and I waited. I thought I was fair in my assessment. I officially put out my panic button video. I think it was after that horrible weekend at the Rock where we lost to, I think it was the Flyers and Senators. I'm trying to see the date on my video here. Oh, this is so annoying. I hate YouTube. I put out the panic button video. Why does it not have the date on here? Oh, God. January 20th. Yes, you're talking about, that was a month and a half ago. I hit the panic button a month and a half ago. SJ says Ace for GM. I don't know about all that. World's worst gamer for sure. If they don't move to help the team, then blow it up. Trade anyone and everyone. Jack says, what's Booze Face drinking tonight? Natural Canopy says, bourbon. John Woodson, Fitz move today, especially with the retention screams all in. I'm terrified. That's conventional wisdom. But Woodson, did you ever think that it's just to save money for the owners? Did that ever cross your mind? And I hate to be this way, but that is a possibility. John Woodson, going all in without your best offensive forward and D-man is insanity. Well, Dougie's week to week, so he would be back for the playoffs. I mean, assuming that they're not completely lying about it, you hope he's back in a couple weeks and is still part of the run to the playoffs. Man, it's going to be hard for me to go to sleep tonight. I'm going to probably do a live, for a while tomorrow. I'll probably start and just stay on here all day eating and drinking. Go, Bro, what's your thoughts about Cousins? I would like him too. Listen, there's a lot of pieces on Buffalo that would help us. Cousins being one of them. Obviously, Mark, Ace, Alex, freaking Tuck would love him. Stick Figs, damn, I know you weren't doing lives yet, but I remember being here last year, how time flies. Yeah, and years are burning off of this core. This is year 8, guys. Year 8 for Jesper Bratt and nicohischier to have a single playoff round victory to show for it. 8 years in the league. Remember this. Years just keep on burning. Woodson, I'm only going all in if we get Thompson. It'll never happen. I don't think it is either. I'd imagine they would get insane amounts of insane offers. World's worst gamer for sure. I guess they were saying the draft is really weak this year. I still find it hard to want to trade a first rounder unless you get something really good with term. Well, here's the reality, world's worst gamer. We drafted Alex Holtz, number 7 overall in the first round. We drafted Chase Stillman with the first round pick. Go and look at the sorry existence that is the New Jersey Devils draft history, and I think you'll get over your first round love real quick. I will trade a first rounder any day, anytime for known commodities. I only value first round picks to have in a trade because I have zero interest in drafting them, to be honest. Furthermore, did anyone see Brisebois, the Lightning's GM Brisebois today was quoted as saying something along the lines of, I'd rather have a roster full of good players than a bank of draft picks. That is win now mentality. That is a winner. That is a man trying to win now. He'd rather have a roster of good players now than go, oh, we have all these picks. Oh, we have all these picks. Could care less about the picks. If you want to win, you trade them. Jeff, why do I feel like we're collectively about to have the biggest blue balls tomorrow? It's a hard league. If that happens, man, it's going to be crazy. Jack, I'd kill to see Tuck in red and black. There's a guy you move Casey or Nemitz for. I agree. SST not going all in, I guess, will result in player giving up on this team and request being traded. Woodson, I think so as well. It's a slap in the face to the rest of the players, and they're going to be furious. Woodson, ace is wearing off on me. I'm 0.005% win now when I used to be 0.000. Is that 5 zeros, then a 5% win now? Scott, we have no first rounder. We were talking about next year's first rounder. Trevor, Fitz won't be going anywhere if he's following the orders of the owners. And again, that is my biggest concern. And for everyone giving him flack, I mean, obviously he's the face of, he's the GM, so he's going to take the bullets. But I've also always said, I wonder if, he is following orders and he's being handcuffed. If he could only do so much, and if he's not getting the green light, then it is an indictment on the owners and it's not his fault. And then he's just a puppet at that point. So, we'll never know. Natural Canopy, Devils in on Nelson. They offered him 3 years. He declined. Where did you see that? SST says Fitzgerald's job is also on the line. Probably. I don't know. That could be just pure conjecture there. Woodson, the Devils won't have a Kucherov type player in our lifetimes. What are you talking about? 120-point guy? You could be right. Husky on Shane, hate that we drafted away a 6'2", 200-pound winger prospect in Traff. I'm not worried about that. I mean, listen, not ideal, but, I'm waiting to see what is the vision for this deadline. What is the full picture? Right now, we got a veteran D-man. What else? What else are you bringing in? SST, if I'm Nico, for example, I'd tell the owners it's either me or Fitzgerald. Man. John Woodson, Traff was projected to have a ceiling of a fourth liner. To most teams, that's expendable. To us, we could use a fourth liner. Fair point. Cerberus, hear me out. Kachuk is unhappy. His team's garbage. Plus, they booed his anthem. And when they miss again, he will ask for a trade first, plus Nemitz, plus Mercer. I don't know if that package would be enough to get it done. I don't think it would be. With that being said, if I'm Fitz, I'm calling up and offering that anyway. I would even offer more than that. They're not actively trading him. See if you could bend their arm. I don't think they're going to do it this year. They're in the hunt for the playoffs. If they did trade him tomorrow, I think their fans would burn the arena down and probably burn the city to the ground. But I do think there is a very good possibility that if they do miss the playoffs, come the summer, he tells them enough is enough. Get me out of here. And I think he'll end up going to Florida with his brother, if I'm being honest. David Chimes, people making too big a deal about price of trade. Fair value is third and fourth with cap sharing. He paid late second and prospect from third round. Big deal. Hockey analysts really picking at small things. Yeah, in the end, I think if this is kind of insignificant in the grand scheme of things, like for people to obsess over it, I think they're just looking to be outraged. I'm waiting. There could be plenty to be outraged tomorrow at 3:01, but we'll find out. Big Ben, unpopular opinion, but the Bastion hate is unwarranted. He was the only Devil who could move the puck up the ice for a stretch in January and February. What more can you ask from a fourth liner? I think he showed signs of, life, but in the end, I just think the whole bottom six has been so underwhelming for the majority of the season that most people just have a bad taste in their mouth and are ready to see almost an entirely new bottom six. Like I said in the last live stream, the bottom six needs a gut renovation. John Woodson, Bastion gets hurt more than Jack. Natural Canopy, if Fitz somehow brings in Brady, I'll buy him a year supply of Tito's and streak in front of the Prudential Center. I can't see it happening. I let the dream die. The dream is dead for me. Go Bora. We won a cup with a 34-year-old Claude Lemieux and a 33-year-old McKay. 33 for a win now would be okay. Yeah, again, you need a mix of veterans and kids. We have tons of kids. I would love some veteran men. I think O'Reilly fits the bill in that way. And so, again, Markstrom's 34. What happened to all you people crying that Markstrom was ready for the retirement home? The guy was in the running for a Vezina before he got hurt. So it's not like our whole team is 34 or that our team is super old already and we're adding another old guy. We need experienced vets. We need men. We are mostly a roster comprised of young children. We need men. We need winners. We need attitude. And I think O'Reilly brings that. Stanley 62495 agreed, John. I don't know why people get worked up over a fourth liner like Bastion. He's fine for what he is. Again, I just think it's the overall, the pain and suffering that is the bottom six. And so everyone is just like, at their wits' end. Tooth, I'd like to see them bring back heavier, edgier, more violent. I feel like they bailed on that concept despite it working for us. It seems like they certainly did, and I hate to be this person. I was super amped in the summer when FITZ came out with the heavier, edgier, more violent slogan. I was jacked beyond belief. He got some guys that fit the bill, obviously Kovacevic, Dylan, Nason, Cotter. And in the beginning of the year, it seemed like we did have a little more of that flair to our game. Heavier, edgier, more violent. We were getting in fights. And I just think the overall team morale was up since we've gotten away from that play, despite on some nights still throwing a good amount of hits. But I still think that the team is too soft. I debated about this with Chico the other day because he was like, oh, we're out hitting all these teams. And I'm like, great, we're out hitting them. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're tougher, in my opinion. I think the Devils have been smacked around in a lot of games. Even if we out hit them, you can't tell me with a straight face that you would classify the Devils as a tough team just because we throw a good amount of hits. But I'd like to see them get back to the heavier, edgier, more violent, and they got to let their teeth show a little bit. You got to come out with that snarl. That was a part of the recipe for winning hockey earlier in the season. Brandon Thomas, at least the trade today is a sign that Sleepy Fitz woke up from his slumber. Hopefully someone working for the organization told Sleepy Fitz that we need a couple forwards. I could only hope so. Ben Jam, the situation is untenable. You can't just sit on it. We have been effed for years. Get radical. We have 0 to lose considering the prior results. Yeah. Gotta make some win now moves. Dr. Fruity Boots. I totally agree with Ace. It's not the New Jersey jackhughes. It's all about the Devils as long as the team wins. I'm happy. It doesn't matter who's in it as long as they win and crush the Rangers. Cerberus, Salive will be good to be fair, but yes, we suck at drafting normally. Yeah, the draft is a crapshoot, and we're bad at it. Mark, I hear Fitz was calling around and telling other GMs he has $13 million available to cover half of their traded player salaries. I could see maybe some deals where we retain salary to pick up some picks. Could totally see that. Woodson, every team needs a few entry-level contracts in the big clubs so you could afford the big boys. John Woodson, I'd love to cover 13 mil of teams' other players for 13 picks. Mark, the garbage first-round picks didn't start with Fitz. Anyone remember Mateau? Lou was pretty lousy his final GM years. Oh, I'm not just saying it's only Fitz. It's almost the last 30 years of the Devils. Outside of a handful of hits, you look and it's just swing and a miss after swing and a miss after swing and a miss, swing and a miss. For 30 years, it's been pretty ugly. And for that reason, why I don't fall in love with drafting with the picks, and I would personally rather trade them almost every single year. Now, obviously, when you have the number 2 or, the number 4, the number 1 overall, where you have specific guys you want to target, like fine. But if you have a mid-round pick, I'm trading that every single time. Trading it every single time in a trade to get known commodities. Jack, Ace, do you buy playoff merchandise? Like, would you buy something that said 2023 playoffs on a Devil shirt? No. I would only buy merchandise. Well, I guess maybe at the time I would. I definitely wouldn't after the fact. During the time, I probably would. But after the fact, no. After the fact, I'd only buy things of winning teams, championships, cup champs. Cerberus, at what point do you think the leadership core has to talk to the rest of the team and let them have it for not helping for months? I would like to believe that already took place. But I often question who is the guy in our locker room or guys that would do this. Again, I just refer back to the Dynasty Devils teams, and there was tons of vets that would hold people accountable, whether it was a Scott Stevens or a Claude Lemieux, a Bobby Holik, a Randy McKay, a Jamie Langenbrunner. Just over the years, we've had tons and tons of guys that would play this role. And when I look at this roster, you're almost like who are those guys? And I do think a guy like JT Miller would have been great in that regard. I think an O'Reilly would be great in that regard. And I think we need a little bit of that injected into the locker room because I don't think we have enough of it. Again, just a lot of inexperienced young guys. Alex says Devils have shown interest in Ryan O'Reilly. Cerberus, back to my Ottawa comment. There are actually a lot of fans / Canadians all over him to get out if he doesn't like Canada. Take advantage, Des. If he wants out, the price would be way down. John Woodson says Brady would go to 10 other teams before the Devils. You're probably right. And there's at least 5 other teams that offer Ottawa a better package than us. I mean, I think we could offer a silly package. You know, so I think, what did someone just throw out before? Nemitz, Mercer, and a first. I would probably even add to that. That's how much I think Brady Tkachuk would matter. I would start there and just keep adding until they said yes. Benjamin, Claude and McKay have bigger balls in our entire system. Not relevant. Go Boro. If it's called Ottawa and I was Ottawa, I'd start at Bratt plus a first plus Nemitz plus Casey. I mean, yeah, that's now you're talking about an insane ask. I would try everything in my power to not include Bratt in the deal. Obviously. Officially, man, 992. Do you think Mikko would be a perfect fit on the team or no? But who do you think the Devils should add on the team? Definitely not Rantanen. No interest. It would cost too much in assets to get him. He wants too much money, and I don't think he's the player we need. Undoubtedly, he would make the Devils a better team. But is that the best usage of those assets to trade to get him and then the money to sign him? Absolutely not. I would much rather have Ryan O'Reilly and McCann, or like McCann and Brock Nelson. Any combo of 2 guys on that list of, 5 to 7 guys, whatever it is, that are like the big names being thrown around or the bigger names being thrown around. I'd much rather have any 2 of those guys than Rantanen. And it's not even close to, in my opinion. QQ, what I like about McCann is that he's a play driver. He's not benefiting from a Jack Hughes on his line. He is their Jack Hughes. He's definitely only a middle sixer for us, but he legit can carry his weight. Alex, big day tomorrow. Deadline and game versus Jets. Absolutely. It's a huge day. Hopefully we get some nice pieces before 3:00, and hopefully we get a huge win on home ice at the Rock. Jack, got to win tomorrow. I want to see the team come out with a fire, energy, and get nasty and mean and play like they have knives to all their throats. They should. Absolutely should. Woodson, Bratt for Brady. My God, yes, except Sens would ask for 3 firsts on top. Custo Hockey, amazing CA coast-to-coast reporting. Pedersen to NJ for Mercer, for Nemitz, Mercer, and a 28 first. I'd be furious if that deal gets made. That is an awful trade. I want no parts of Pedersen. Him and Rantanen, I look at as the same. Overpriced, don't want you. Oh, there's Chico. I'm losing it. I'm going to start crawling up the walls of the Rock with my bare hands. 3 p.m. needs to get here already. Garrett, Ace, how much blame do you put on Key for the poor play? Not much at all. I think he's done admirable with a roster full of holes. I don't think many coaches would get better results out of this roster. You could make the argument that almost all of our bottom 6 would not be on other NHL teams. I mean, be realistic. What the hell do you expect this guy to do? Nico missed a ton of time. I mean, we, again, not to use the injury excuse, but the reality is we had tons of injuries. And even when healthy, our roster has tons of guys that wouldn't be playing on other teams. So what are you really talking about? Woodson, Pedersen, Mikko, or any other soft, non-physical snipers are a big no for me. Absolutely. We don't need any more soft finesse guys. I'm sorry. We have plenty of them. I don't want more, and I definitely don't want more making $12 million plus. Ride and respect. Hell, if they have a mid-deadline and somehow come out tomorrow night and beat Winnipeg, my spirits will be raised quite a bit. Chico, on Devils drafting, they've also been awful at developing prospects too. So while they didn't draft ideally, they also burned the hell out of those guys. Remember Larson's AHL, NHL yo-yoing. Was he really yo-yoed? I thought he was pretty much, I don't remember. What was he on? Was it the Albany Devils at that point? I think that was around the time of the Albany Devils. Dude, all these sites suck. Where's the... Yeah, it was the Albany Devils. SST, outside of Jack, Luke, Nico, who fell to us, the Devils only have Bratt, Parisi, and Gomez in the last 20 years of drafting who became really good players. I think you have to throw Zajac in there. You're not going to say he's a great player, but he was a very solid NHL player. I think Zajac deserves a little more respect, in my opinion, on that list. I'm just looking. I mean, how many years did you say you went back? 25 years. Yeah, so you're talking 20. Yeah, so from 2020. Yeah, you got to throw Zajac in there. And outside of him, that could be it. Yeah, that is it. I mean, what are we talking about, guys? I talked about this in depth a couple weeks ago. There you have it. I mean, this is why I don't value picks at all. Trade that shit. Trade that shit. Woodson, I'm only okay paying a second for Dumoulin if he resigns for cheap and we unload Siegs. That could be the plan. Woodson says Siegs always gets hurt. I'm done with players made out of glass. I've always been done with those players. Oh, boy, Nick Adams. This should be a doozy. Fitz has never won a trade as a GM. Why would that change now? I hope he does nothing. It'd be great to see the worst player in the league, Dawson Mercer, removed from this team, though. Yeah, the worst player in the league, bud. Come on. Don't be ridiculous. Trevor, if Fitz wanted a D-man before Dougie went down, wouldn't he be looking for another D-man now? Not necessarily. I think we're out of assets. You know, I don't think the math is going to quite math out that way. Like, oh, he wanted one before, now he needs two. It could be. I mean, I think a lot of people will be stunned if he goes and gets another defenseman. I mean, that would be interesting. Imagine, like, you know, the day starts off and at around like 12 o'clock, all of a sudden it's just like another defenseman along the lines of him, and that gets announced. People are going to lose their minds. Combe Scoot. Can't believe this is the same team that 2 years ago went 21-4-1 in the start of the season. What a fall from grace. Chico. Rantanen would be a good fit stylistically, but he wants $14 million per. And then what's going to happen when Jack and Co are up? They're going to want more. Cap is going up, but cap space is gold. I have no interest in Rantanen. None. David Chimes. Elliot Friedman said he heard Fitz still has the green light to add. He's almost always accurate. Plus, Fitz tweeted he's still buy side. Only question is how much he buys. Yeah, exactly. Are you talking about spending all the LTIR money or getting a bottom six winger? There's a very big difference. Chico, my ideal gets are still Raquel, Donato, and McCann. Yep, that's a good list. I also do like O'Reilly a lot. I'd be happy with Brock Nelson at the right price. Woodson, the only players I'm not interested in selling is Nason, Salayev, and Yegorov. Everyone else can go. Nason is the only one who cares. He definitely cares. I'm a big Nason guy. Our resident junkyard dog. Officially Man 992. What type of players do you think the Devils should add? Preferably guys that could score that aren't Charmin soft. You don't need to be the most physical guy, but you cannot be Charmin soft. Just give me like average NHL toughness. The tougher, the better. Obviously, I would like, you know, on the tougher side than not. But you just can't be soft. Give me some dogs, though. I really do want dogs. Chico, EP for Nemitz, Mercer, and a 28 first can't happen. You can't trade a first more than 2 years out anymore. Unless you meant a 26 first. Either way, any year first rounder, I have no interest in that deal. Custo Hockey, disagree, Ace, but it's okay. I know more about hockey than you. What is that even in reference to? What is that in reference to? I don't even know. You know everything, Custo Hockey. You're a guru. SST, Jack will come back to the Stanley Cup Finals, Game 7 in June, and score game-winning goal. That's not going to happen. Collect Records got to get to bed, but hoping we'll have a Merry Fitzmas tomorrow. Let's go Devils. Woodson, we hardly have the ammo to trade for McCann. In no world will we get Raquel and Donato on top. Oh, all three is a pipe dream. That'll never happen. I'm hoping we get two decent guys to help the team out. I think two is a realistic expectation or hope. Mark Costanza, our bottom six is so bad I don't even know who's on it. Jack, best place to form a ride around the Rock? Should we meet in Newark or somewhere else, then travel to the Rock? Josh asks, anyone remember Mike Danton? Oh, I definitely remember Mike Danton. I have a good Mike Danton story that I'll eventually tell one day. Samuel, how many goalies have we drafted and let go to other teams? We can't develop a roll of film. Go Boro, 3-way. Mercer plus Nemitz plus first for Pettersson, but take Pettersson and a pick to Buffalo for Thompson. Would you guys take it? Yeah, I would do that trade, I think. I think you'd have to, but that's, I think, unrealistic. But I think I would do that. Chico, best not sleep on Travis Zajac. Good middle six center, in my opinion. Great shutdown guy. Filled in admirably after Gomer left. Yeah, I just mentioned that I think SST has to include him on the list. Celluloid therapy. If not for his injury, Nemitz would have been a full-time NHL D-man this year. Probably. Mark Larson and a few others. Jacob Josephson were yo-yoed. I remember the issue was mainly because our coach wasn't keen on younger players. Can't remember who was the coach. Fentanyl Floyd. Zajac was 10 years too soon. Imagine him in this lineup. Yeah. Super smart player. You could play him in every situation. Zajac on this team would be great. World's worst gamer, Dawson Mercer, is supposed to become our new Travis Zajac. Chico, like, I'm not going to sit here and tell anyone Mercer is a franchise savior, but I honestly wonder what the hell people are watching to hate him so much. I just don't see it. Chico, the issue is that people are they have unrealistic expectations. I think that's just what the reality. For whatever reason, some people after that 22-23 season, people believed Mercer was bound to be the star player. And when it didn't happen with constantly improving stats, he was a guy they decided to pick on. And then maybe the holdout or the brief holdout in training camp added fuel to the fire for some of these people. And so he became a target of the vitriol and hate of many people online. That's the only thing I could think of there, Chico. But I think that's what it is. A lot of people just had unrealistic expectations. Trevor, Ace, what do you do? Your collection of memorabilia is exquisite. I've just been collecting for a long time. So I've been collecting Devils memorabilia for nearly 30 years. And in that time, was fortunate to accumulate some nice stuff. Some of these comments, you guys are ridiculous. Stanley, there shall be no besmirching of Travis Zajac. He was a fine player. That's why I named him. Chico, Ryan O'Reilly would be awesome on this team, in my opinion. Him and Dumo as deadline ads, just dogs who have been there before and won it all, would be huge for this team. I agree. John Woodson, trading Jack is a win now move for the millionth time. We're definitely not trading Jack. And then obviously now that he's hurt, he's definitely not getting traded. Samuel, get me another Timo. I'd be thrilled, as would I. Would love another Timo. I don't know who would fit that bill even, but anyone remotely in that world. World's worst gamer, send our backup goalie to a West team for anything. I don't care. Are you referring to Allen or Dawes? I'm assuming you mean Allen. And I think Fitz has like a little arrangement with him that he wasn't going to be dealt. But I'm wondering, in the right circumstance, would he agree to a trade that could benefit us? And maybe also benefit him. Jacob Levy, the one thing that bugs me about the Devils the past two seasons are that they barely celebrate after they score goals. Compared to other teams after they score, the Devils seem like, oh, we scored. Oh, I don't care about that at all. I don't care. To act like you've been there before, I suppose. But what kind? You need excessive you want like NFL touchdown dances, like a whole choreographed thing where they come in a circle and they do some sort of synchronized dance. Chico, I know more about hockey than you. My guy, it's a sport. We're not talking about rockets. Oh, yeah, he's about that knucklehead before. John Woodson, if we could get a point per game physical forward for Jack, I would dance in the street. Jack McCabe, I don't want to have to trade Jack, but I'm curious as to what people think they could get for him. His value would be way down. I don't even know why I'm entertaining this, but in the end, guys, he's now damaged goods. I hate to say it. He's officially damaged goods. And so a team would try to steal him from us. You're not going to get anywhere near what people would think is fair value. Not to mention that the owners are never going to consider this anyway. They are all in on the Hughes business. And now his value would be, in my opinion, significantly depleted from what it would have been, 5 months ago. Stanley says, I remember when Mike Danton became Mike Jefferson. It was actually the other way around, Stanley. I believe. It was Mike Jefferson first. Yeah, he was Mike Jefferson, and then he became Mike Danton. Jay Snow, I love Tage Thompson. I think we all do. Mark, more like Jack will come back in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals and re-injure his shoulder on the first shift. Man. M, Ace, do you think FITZ has the balls to rework the bottom six and get two big-name forwards as well by 3 p.m. tomorrow? What do you mean as well? I think your best-case scenario is we get two decent forwards tomorrow. Are you talking about getting two big-name forwards and getting bottom six guys? No chance. Chico, Tage Thompson, 1C, move Jack to left wing. Hughes, Thompson, Bratt. Oh man, don't you guys dare let me dream like that. That would be quite the line. Quite the line. Trevor, why do we keep talking about Mikko Rantanen? It's not happening, and Carolina isn't sending him to direct competitor unless they get fleeced. Hopefully the Rangers get him. I agree with you there as well. I have no interest for all the reasons. I completely have no interest. Woodson says Lindy wasn't the problem. The soft-ass players were the problem. Woodson says Jack Hughes doesn't like to play wing. Jack gets what Jack wants. I think it could be a while before you see him even try to play wing, and it may never happen. World's Worst Gamer says his holdout was ridiculous. That was to Mercer. So there's your answer, Chico. The holdout really left a lot of bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, and they were gunning for him from the start. Cerberus, I don't know if I ever saw anyone say Mercer was going to be a star. He just needs to be a 50, 60-point guy that shows up every game and not a 35-point guy who we don't see for long stretches. I think it's a down year for a lot of guys. Chico, Mercer's no crash liner, but you can't say he dodges contact. Granted, he's not tough, but he doesn't dodge it either. I kind of agree with that. He's a little feisty. He's not going to win most of the battles. Woodson, Mercer can be traded in a year or two. We wouldn't get much more production out of another third-line center. Jason says Mercer gets moved around like nothing. All of these guys, we're an undersized team, guys. We have a lot of small guys. And despite that, Woodson points out Mercer's the only guy on the team that plays all 82 games a year, which is fair. SST says, remember Instagram hockey days? Been ages ago. Oh, man, I missed some Instagram hockey. David chimes, Halla is the only true obvious underperformer, and he drags everyone who plays with him down. Don't get why the scapegoaters can't ever get the right scapegoat. I mean, if you're looking at the biggest disappointment, then I do agree. He is the one that kind of fell off a cliff the most, and as a center, that does hurt the team the most. Chase, no, he's not a center. Mercer, he's bad down the middle. They never use him at center. Yeah, now he's kind of playing because of need. When Jack goes down, we were already super thin at center. What other options do we have? Although I will say, Paul Cotter has played center. I'm curious to see him play center a game for the Devils. I mean, at this point, what do you have to lose? Woodson, Hall hasn't had a point since November 25th. He's more than invisible. QQ, his stats are so meaningless. They count a love tap from Nico, the exact same as Delorier driving a guy into the nosebleeds. Jacob Levy, I just want the Devils to look like they care about scoring and winning more. Sometimes they look like they don't care as much as the other teams. I totally agree with that. They do seem disinterested on some nights. Woodson says new owners not in the Hughes business. I don't know what made you think that. I think they do. I think they are in the business. Jeff says, you know who loved to show passion after scoring for NJ? Jeff Friesen. What a legend. Jeff Friesen. What a huge piece of that 2003 Stanley Cup team. Legend. Woodson, heck, I'd be thrilled if Hall could get to 30 points this season. Jack, Ace, if you sell all your stuff and buy the Devils, would you be in the Hughes business as the owner? I think you guys know the answer to that, knowing if you've been here for any sort of time, the type of players that I identify with and the types of players that I believe in the most, the types of players that I want to lead my team, and the types of players that I want to build around. I think you would have your answer. SST, will FITZgerald again draft D-men and goalies this summer only? Well, we're going to find out in the little 3.5 months. Trevor, Ace, you need to do a Devils player spelling bee. Half of these guys can't spell our beloved Devils names. That is a pet peeve of mine. I was always very good at spelling, and I certainly wouldn't be spelling players' names wrong. But, it's not some people's strong point. Woodson, we need 1 or 2 bottom 6 guys tomorrow with term for next year. The rest can be added over the summer. Roman Czechmonic. Jack should play wing because he's never going to win a faceoff with his surgeries. Chico, the only way I see the Canes sending him here is if they get a lot and are confident he's going to test free agency here too. But even then, why not send him to Toronto or Winnipeg? It makes no sense. I think they're stuck holding the bag on him. They have buyer's remorse, and I don't think anyone's going to bail him out. It's just too dangerous of a situation for most teams. Stanley 62495. I guess I don't remember when Mike Jefferson became Mike Danton, but I'm pretty certain he coined Lou's Kool-Aid. I do remember him saying that. Something about, I'm not going to drink Lou's Kool-Aid. Man, what a legend. Jack McCabe breaking. FITZ spotted at Blake Shelton concert tonight at The Rock. I'm not kidding. That can't be real. Is that real, McCabe? Woodson says his face-off percentage could be 0 and he would be untradeable. Chico, selfishly, I kind of want the Canes to be forced to keep Rantanen and let him continue to ruin their team and then walk after we beat them in the first round. That'd be amazing. That would be an amazing scenario. That's obviously the best case scenario for the Devils, that they get stuck with him, they get bounced, and then he leaves. They lost Natchez in the process. That would be a just absolutely beautiful scenario. Gem Card, Aces Live. Why am I saying this now? Hope you're having a good night, my friend. Need some big pickups tomorrow by FITZ. Oh, yeah, so I will tell you guys, I always forget to say this too, but I think there's a hit the notifications button. If you don't want to miss the lives, you don't want to miss videos, hit that little bell. Hit that little bell to make sure you get the notifications because I'll be doing random videos and random lives at all times, and if you don't want to miss the fun, if you don't want to be left out of the fun times around here, make sure you hit that notification so you get the notifications when things happen. Hit the notifications. Austin Katz should have locked up DeBrincat when we had the chance. Absolutely not. That's another guy that I'm so glad we never got. He's another midget. No, thank you. We do not need undersized forwards. We need monsters. Give me monsters. Give me power. Give me grit. Do not give me any more small guys. I'm out. I'm out of the small forward game. Jay Snow, I don't care. I just want to make the playoffs. We've been in a playoff spot all year. What a disaster it would be to miss. Completely agree. Jack McCabe breaking. Nelson to Avalanche. Is that real? I'm looking to see. Is that like confirmed? Confirmed? According to Sarah Valley, we're in on O'Reilly. I mean, we talked about that before. The Pagnotta. The Isles pitched a 3-year offer for Nelson. It wasn't enough. 7 teams have expressed interest. That was an hour ago. So I may have. Chico, bro, I grew up in a Spanish-speaking household. My ass can't say these alphabet soup hockey names, much less spell them. I'll accept it. Nelson to Colorado, Nelson to the Avs. Is that true? Is that confirmed? Mark, speaking of Jeff Friesen, I finally got a Friesen Devils gamer after searching for several years. 0203 set 2 home. So stoked. Nice. Very nice. SJ says Avs going to win it all with Blackwood. I said when they got him, I think he wins a cup there. He's going to have five cracks at it. I think, that's a very good team. That was almost as good of a scenario as possible for Mackenzie Blackwood to go to. Talk about rags to riches. He gets moved from San Jose to Colorado. My God. The only person happier than Blackwood was probably his agent. What a come up. And what a great situation to be in. Stanley, hit that like button. Yeah, hit the like button for your boy and put the notifications on. If you don't want to miss out on the madness, the videos, the lives, hit that notification button. So as soon as something happens, you're going to get notified. You're going to get that little pop-up or whatever the hell notification they send you, and you won't miss out. Trevor, we can't afford to trade forwards like Mercer. We need only to add so we can slot players more appropriately. This is kind of where I'm at, Trevor. I've said that for a while, too. Unless it's a deal where Mercer's leaving and we're getting 2 forwards back, I look at it as a somewhat of a lateral move. Even if the forward is an upgrade over Mercer, you're still looking at 1-for-1, and so it doesn't help the depth whatsoever. And like I've said in the past, we need to push guys down and out of the lineup, and trading one NHL forward for another one doesn't help in that regard. Jem Cart says, I think the Devils will get O'Reilly. I would like it. I would like it a lot. Chico, on DeBrincat, I don't watch enough of him to know, but I remember just because a guy is small doesn't mean he's going to be soft. Remember the dog Brian Giunta had in him. I do, but Chico, on this roster, in a vacuum, I have nothing against the guy. But this team is too small already. You couldn't. DeBrincat, it would be the kiss of death on this team. The absolute kiss of death. Ride and respect, legit. Ritter Engine Fitz getting drunk tonight. Woodson, wish we would have sent Allen to Florida. He deserves a cup after dealing with our team. Mark, Avs, Panthers, Stanley Cup Final, Blackwood versus Vanacek. Book it. I think Florida is going to really miss Tkachuk. I mean, you can't replace a guy like him. Stanley, Nelson was never coming here. Lou does not trade within the division. Yeah, I always thought that was a stretch as well, and especially to the Devils. I really don't think that Lou is trying to do the Devils any favors. And I think he enjoys the fact that we've struggled since he's been gone. I do think he kind of gets a little kick out of that. Chico, Nelson of the Avs hurts a little bit. He's a little old for what I was hoping for. Puck Empire reported on it, and he doesn't post something like that unless it's true. Jay Snow, it blows watching all these teams gearing up for a cup run. This year just feels done. Oh, I can't believe it. I don't think he's anywhere near done. Van Walen, Ace, Fitz should go after Paterka before Drury gets him. That's like, I think that's the fourth or fifth Buffalo Sabre that someone has talked about in this. We talked about, let me think if that's 4 or 5. People have talked about Tuck, Thompson. I think someone mentioned Ryan McLeod. Yeah, so I guess he's the 4th. There's tons of guys in the Sabres that people would be interested in. Man, how much does it suck to be on the Sabres? Not only are they bad, but Buffalo is just a terrible NHL city to be in. And let's be real. David Chimes, I found nothing confirmed on Nelson except that he's not extending and Lou definitely shopping him. A rumor involves Middlestat for Nelson. David Chimes, Nelson trade not on Puckpedia. They record trades within minutes. Mark, DeBrincat is no Giunta. Natural Canopy says Elliot Friedman reported on it. It's true. Confirmed by the Isles, apparently. Nelson is a done deal. Wow. It's crazy. Let's see. There it is. It's official. The New York Islanders have acquired forward Callum Ritchie, a first-round selection in the 2026 or 27 NHL draft, a conditional third-round pick in the 2028 NHL draft, defenseman Oliver Kylington for the Avalanche in exchange for Brock Nelson and William Dufour. Wow. There you have it. Another piece off the board. Another piece that he was always kind of low on my list, though. I would have liked if we got him, but there are other guys that would have got me more excited. Jem Card, I know I probably missed it. You talking about it, but thoughts on Dumoulin? I'm waiting to see what else happens. Initial glance, I think it is a slight overpayment, but I'm not, it's not a substantial move in my opinion. I understand why FITZ did it. I'm waiting to see what else plays out tomorrow. That's where I'm going to judge. If that's all that happens, then it was, or if it's just that and like another smaller move, then it was a tragic deadline. Wow, Isles got a haul for Nelson. Luke, Booze Face is going to kill us. Luke, I hope you know. I feel like I haven't seen you here in a few lives, Luke. Your Booze Face moniker has really taken off. Lots of people are using Booze Face, so you've succeeded in making your name kind of stick. Lots of people have ran with it ever since the other night. I forgot about Cousins. Oh yeah, half of Buffalo's team people want. Just bring in all, we'll call the New Jersey Devils. Roman Chekmonic, Peterka isn't likely to get traded at the deadline. The options are getting slimmer. That's why I don't like the trade happening before a forward trade. Midnight Mike show the Devils are making me nervous. Yeah, welcome aboard the train, Midnight Mike. The Devils have made us all nervous for, I don't know, what, two plus months now? Terrible. LHM wouldn't mind an O'Reilly acquisition. Also, Trotz is basically brain dead, so you could probably get one over on him. SJ said that's a lot for Nelson. Yeah, guys, seller's market. People are getting big returns. Chico included a conditional 2028 third-round pick, so I guess I was wrong about that 2 years out draft pick rule. Never mind. Joaquim, that's a great return for NYI. I feel like Colorado overpaid. Ride and respect, dude. Avs got fleeced low-key. Samuel, I said it before, Cousins from Buffalo would fit in nice. Jay Snow, how did we not get a first for Toffoli? And that's exactly what I'm thinking, Jay Snow. I thought, I was gutted last year at the deadline. It was like, we're 90% missing the playoffs, or maybe it was 95% in reality at that point. I don't remember. It was definitely grim. It was going to take a miracle for us to get in. But I remember thinking, like, this sucks. I know we're going to sell Toffoli. At least we're going to get a first rounder for him. And hopefully we could flip that into a known player to help us at some juncture. And then it gets announced that we're not getting a first. And I was like, my God, it made me sick. Luke, Nelson is a full rental. Devils can't go all in on that. Evan says, meanwhile, Fitzgerald does nothing. Stanley, pretty solid haul for an unrestricted free agent. Nice work by the Godfather. Lou's been at this for a while, guys. Lou is a crafty veteran. Despite his advanced age, and despite some of the things he's done or not done, as the GM of the Islanders, when he's in a situation to, take advantage a little bit and capitalize, he's not shy to do it. And he just got some nice pieces from the Avs for Nelson. This is what good GMs do. Luke says Booze Face overpaid. Gem Card, I didn't want Nelson one bit. Stanley says Booze Face for life. Mark, Colorado may have overpaid, but at least they got something good, unlike RGM who overpays for everything. David Chimes, big price for Nelson as a rental. Can't fault FITZ for not going there. No, I wouldn't be interested in that either. Natural Canopy, do you think FITZ at this point is face down? Apparently he's at a concert. That's what people are saying. Trevor, Nelson trade is not good for the market. We're hoping for tomorrow. Cerberus, seller's market. Let's not be stupid. Meadowlander, the Avs are really going for it in our wagon. Where do they get the cap room? Is it Landeskog LTIR? I'm not familiar with Colorado's cap situation. And to Chico makes a fair point. It's most likely going to be a pretty late first-round pick, but a first-rounder nonetheless. Luke, Ace, I've been so busy at work and my kids' sports that the little time I have to myself, this team, some team, whatever, me, and makes me want to jump off a bridge. Oh, I get it, man. A lot of us are there. Cerberus, sell, get picks now, use them at the draft for next season, help and go all, and then look at these awful overpays already. Sorry, brother, man. Never on board. Playoffs or bust. Playoffs or bust. LHM. Just thought I mentioned someone saw a Boozy Boy at Blake Shelton concert this evening. React accordingly. I need to see a photo or it didn't happen. Jay Snow, I can't believe that Toffoli returned. Look at this year's market, of course. Chico, Lou ain't as good as he once was, but he's as good once as he ever was. Yeah, there you have it. Natural Canopy says Fitz is on a second bottle of bourbon. Mark Costanza, Blake Shelton. Well, not only does he suck as a GM, but he has shitty musical tastes too. Oh, man. Cisco says, Ace, what's up with Roger Clemens? Is he happy with the rags you're doing? I haven't heard from Chris in a little bit. I think he's just depressed about, the Rangers kind of on the outside looking in at the moment, but they've looked, or at least in the standings, they're much closer than they were a while ago. They've made up some ground. Luke, Fitz needs to get a top 6 center, bottom 6 center, top 9 scoring winger, and can't give up good players or key prospects. I say give up the picks. It's time to move into play to win mode. I agree. Couldn't agree more. 100% serious. Dude posted on X a picture of him and Fitz. Oh, I need to see it. Where is it? SST says that return from Nelson is nothing. Cape Dweller, Florida. Colorado final would be 4 former Devils in goal. Chico, if the market is that bad, then he could just pick up Donato and maybe take a flyer on some buried winger along with Dummo. That's fine, I guess. Not ideal, but it's a brutal year for trades. Luke, I fear Fitz made that trade today makes Nemitz, Casey, or Covey ready to go. It very well could be. That could be the case. Jason says Donato is going to get a big return too. Steve Smith, important to mention it's a Blake Shelton concert at the Rock. Fair point. He was probably already in the building. Maria D just came to this late trade deadline pre-party. Yes, it is. Trevor, Jordan, he wouldn't have made that trade if he was giving up. I said like a week ago, I do think there's 3 avenues you could take. There's like the half-assed, look like you're trying to make moves, the do nothing, and then the really push for it lane. I'm hoping he's going in the really push for it lane. Stanley, ain't that some shit at a concert on the eve of deadline day? Unbelievable. Luke says Donato should have been added months ago. Midnight Mike, I'm a Jets fan. I rely on my Devils and Yankees to keep me sane. It's gotten scarce since the 2000s. That's not cool. Well, the Devils and Yankees saw, depending on your age, Midnight Mike, you're saying since the 2000s. So yeah, if you're at least around my age, I guess, or even mid 30s. Yeah, if you're mid 30s or older, you saw 3 Devils Cups and what? How many times did the Yankees win? Like 4 or 5? I don't even know. I'm not a big baseball guy. I know the core 4 won. They win 3 or 4 titles. I can't remember. But you've seen plenty of championships. You may have seen them all earlier on in life, Midnight Mike. You may never see another one again. Natural Canopy says if Fitz was at that concert, he should be ashamed. There's a photo on Twitter. I need to see it. I need to see it. I can't find it easily. Someone put the link in the chat if you find it. Metal Ender says Fitz at the Rock just means he's burning the midnight oil in his office. That's probably what it is. And, it's in the arena. So maybe he just was like, let me go check out a couple minutes of this concert. I mean, I'm not going to kill the guy for that. Gem card, Nemitz for Stamkos retained. Make it happen. Oh, God. Depending on the amount of retention, I would still be all over this. Despite Stamkos slumping this season, I would definitely do this. Luke says Fitz is busy jamming out. Cerberus, shouldn't Fitz boss be telling him it's a work night? This happens once a year, and he had plenty of time to know when the deadline was. Trevor, the only way we could replace Jack is acquiring multiple forwards to fortify the lineup. Jack, would you be willing to give up next year's first for Ryan O'Reilly? I'd prefer not to. I would try everything I could to not do that. But if it came down to it and there wasn't a better player that we could use the pick towards, I probably would. Mark, Islanders Twitter confirms a trade tonight. Devils Twitter confirms our GM is shit-faced and pissed himself on a Blake Shelton concert. SST, Fitzgerald is scanning the AHL teams for possible trade targets right now. Stanley, how do you hear your phone ringing if you're too busy listening to lousy music? I'm sure his phone is in his hand, and I don't think I think they probably text a lot. Jordan, do we expect something tonight? Then it's late. No, that's why I came on so late. I think I came on around 10:30 because I assumed what I said as the shop is closed for the evening. They're not going to release any news now, but I could be wrong. I guess, that Islanders one just came out a couple minutes ago. But I thought once 10:30 came along, I was like, okay, I don't think they're going to release anything now. But yeah, 15 minutes ago, so it was 11:55. Yeah, the Islanders news broke at 11:55. So I suppose it's possible. I'm not expecting anything till tomorrow, but we'll see. I'll be back here in the morning, to do a deadline day live. I'll probably just stay on here most of the day. We'll see how it shakes out. Chico, it's like I said, if it's really that brutal, sign some AHLers without NHL contracts. There's got to be an upgrade on Halla out there at least. Luke, yeah, he was in the building checking the kegs. I don't care if he's a fall down drunk. Just be good at your job. Dude has 2 assistant GMs. Midnight Mike, you're 44. Okay, so you saw plenty of titles, man. You were spoiled, Midnight Mike. You saw all-time greats. You saw Martin Brodeur. You saw Scott Stevens. You saw Scott Niedermayer. You saw Derek Jeter. You saw Mariano Rivera. You saw Andy Pettitte. I mean, you've seen a lot. You were blessed with a lot of titles up front, and it's been a little droughty for you as of late. I don't think you have any hope of ever seeing a Jets one. And I guess your best hope is probably another Yankees one, I would imagine. Natural Canopy agreed, Trevor. I'd love to get Besser. Yeah, I would love him too. LHM, I've been a huge Mercer fan for years. He was my first jersey, but I've been proposing a trade that involves him and some picks to Vancouver for Besser. I think that could be interesting. But again, would like to see a net add of forwards to this team. Jason says Chicago wants a first for Donato. That's a lot. Man, I could see someone paying it too. This really is a crazy trade market if they get a first for him. And we couldn't get a friggin' first. We couldn't get a first for Toffoli. My God. Luke, Sharrow drafted pretty good. Bad trade with Subban, but overall was light years better than Booze Fitzgerald. Mark says, give Chicago the 2026 first then. Cape Dweller, he's at a Blake Shelton concert, entertaining some friends in from Nashville, perhaps. Stanley, Luke, those assistant GMs are the biggest farce. Marty is my dude, but that guy doesn't have a real job. Stefan, you guys still want Stamkos? May want to check his production over the last month first. I'll still take him. All-time legend, leader, winner, has a little dog in him. With retention, I would have no interest in paying that full contract. Let me start you there because the question was phrased with retention. With retention, I would still be interested in Steven Stamkos. For sure. With retention. Cerberus, Shiro traded Rico. No forgiveness in my heart for that. SJ says, saw the Yankees win in 09. Pretty sweet. Husky Unchained, I heard Fitz was recently seen shopping for socks and underwear at Walmart and just newspaper for wrapping. Chico, that one still hurts. Vats was cool, but seeing Rico in an Oilers jersey still infuriates me. Luke, if the Devils give up a first for O'Reilly, we'd need another player. Oh, wait, Pittsburgh already got Novak while Fitz was getting ready for a concert. Gem Card, O'Reilly still has 2 years left on his contract, if I'm not mistaken. At least he wouldn't be a complete rental. Yes, he does. Midnight Mike, it's gotten scarce. The 90s, 2000s were amazing for me. Now it's getting a little too long between championships. Oh, sorry to keep you waiting, Midnight Mike. Alex, after the Nelson trade, looks like those big names are looking for a guarantee. A Nemo or Casey first-round Mercer. Going to be a steep price, boys. Hold on. SJ says O'Reilly would be a game changer. Please, Fitz. Cyril, Buffalo is the perpetual supplier of great players fed up with losing. LHM at Gem Card, I'm all for an O'Reilly acquisition. He'd be a great Halla upgrade. Trevor, maybe because everyone else already blew their load, we can get some discount deals tomorrow. Chico, Rico would be pretty good on this Devils team 3C. Wonder if the Oilers are sick of him yet. No, I can't see it. I thought he would have been a possibility last year. I said that was one reunion I was hoping could happen. I do think our fans overall are obsessed with the reunion. And some of them I think are just not worth revisiting. But I think the fans, and for whatever reason, they love guys coming back. I thought last year Henrique could have been a good one, but he's in a great situation. He's a Canadian boy. He's in Edmonton playing on a pretty damn good team, and he's in a position to win a cup there. And so I don't think he would have any intentions of leaving, and I think Edmonton is pleased with him. Luke, O'Reilly has tailed off, but he's a gamer. I wanted him and Novak. Their cap hits were exactly $8 million, which is Jack's. Natural Canopy says, I'm not giving up on our drunk GM. Luke says, Fitz was busy work on a 9th defender for a second and a prospect to save cap for the owners. LHM, I feel like this chat is doing more work than the entire Devils management right now. Luke says Chicago is waiting for Boo's face to panic. Luke says Marty isn't the assistant GM. I think his actual title is like executive vice president of hockey ops or something, but he is an advisor to Fitz. I know Fitz definitely, picks his brain about some stuff, but in the end, he doesn't have any real say. It's Fitz. Natural Canopy says Lou Lambs isn't sleeping. Woodson, Dumoulin going to wear number 2. How dare they dishonor the great Brendan Smith? Should have retired his jersey. Chico, Devils are 3 goals deep. Maybe Allen gets Rico and a sweetener. I doubt it. And I don't think they're going to trade Allen. I think Fitz has a deal with him that he's going to be here long term. I don't think he trades him. Could be wrong, but I think Allen is here. SJ, most of these players are going to cost a first. Natural Canopy, Brendan Smith is an effing all-star and Hall of Famer. LHM, damn, just saw that Nelson trade. Lou got a great return. Chico, Lou immediately flipped Kylington for future considerations to the Ducks. Luke, I wanted Rico, but he's tits at center, and we needed centers. Halla and Lazar will be better at wing. Their careers have shown that. Chico, maybe Lou wants to take a flyer on Zegras in the offseason. That's interesting. I believe it's pronounced Shillington. Really? Mark says Zegras doesn't strike me as a guy Lou would want. I'm kind of there with you. Zegras is I would call him a very, Roman says Marty is the executive vice concessions expected. You guys are nuts. LHM, you're right. If I remember correctly, that's what they played during the 22-23 season. Luke says Marty has a word, but there are 2 assistant GMs. Cerberus, we should take a flyer on Zegras in the offseason. He has sucked, but you never know if a new system will help, and he will cost nothing. Isn't he signed up? Yeah, what are you talking about? Zegras is signed for 1 more year at $5.75 million. I'm a hard pass on him, too. Hard pass. Chico says Zegras and Barzell would be a hell of a duo if Zegras bounces back. LHM says Zegras is super high risk, low reward. I'm not interested in him at all. Chico, Zegras is one I would want to take a flyer on. The upside is massive and the risk is low. No, thank you. No, thanks. He's another child, my friend. I want men. Chico says I know Ace hates him. I don't hate him. I think he's entertaining. I think he could be a good player, but he's just another modern player child that I don't want. Don't want it. Luke, I think Lou steps down next year. I hope not, because Lou's still working, keeps me feeling young. You think Lou's going to step down? I can't see it. Stanley says, Luke, you're correct. I remember watching Marty on Cam's podcast saying he advises Tom. Maybe he's the assistant to the assistant. No. Mark says, we all already got a flashy guy in Hughes. No to Zegras. That's where I'm at. Cerberus says, best case he works with Jack. Well, again, worst case we have another crappy bottom six player. No thanks. No more boys. Only men. Only men. We have enough boys. QQ, honestly, for this trade deadline, first and third for Nelson might be the best deal of them all. Oh, man. Giovanni says, bro, we need Miko so bad right now. No way. That'd be a terrible move. That's a move that would haunt the franchise for years, in my opinion. Don't want it. LHM, God, I wish Seattle was dealing McCann. If Fitz landed him, I'd be over the moon. He could be up for grabs. We don't know. Some of these guys are going to be moving regardless. There's lots of names floating around out there. Natural Canopy, we don't need Rantanen. Go do more shots with Fitz. Blackatron, I love how all of us are still commiserating. This next 24 is going to be stressful. It's not 24, my man. We are 14 and a half hours away to the deadline. Chico, mainly what I'm looking for right now is just some more damn goals. We know this team could defend. Mark, if we do any deals with Anaheim, we should go after Troy Terry. Trevor, with this core, we still lack that top guy that could lead us to a cup. Good supporting cast, but we need a Stamkos-like guy. I would love Stamkos with retention. I just can't see it. SJ says, love Miko, but he wants insane money. No thanks. Chico says Lou is going to work until the day he dies. I actually think so as well. LHM, Lou will be buried under the UBS arena, and I'll take the over on that bet. He shouldn't be buried under there. He should be buried under the old arena at the Meadowlands. That's where he truly should rest. Under the former Brendan Burns / Continental Airlines Arena / Izod Center. Mark says Troy Terry or Kaloran from Anaheim. No and no to Zegras. Natural Canopy with what money? He wants $14 a year. Yeah, it's crazy. $14 million for Rantanen is just a travesty. Complete travesty. Cerberus, as much as I agree on the softness factor, we have plenty of men in the bottom six doing nothing. We need anyone who could score 20. I agree with that, but I think we could find a man, a grizzly man who could score 20. Stanley, Lou will break the code and live forever. He looks younger now than he did in the 90s. Costanza says there's also Frank Vetrano on the Ducks. SST, I'd replace Dougie with Brendan Smith or put him on top line so he can finish breakaways. I use the greater than sign. I don't know what that means. I'm tired. Giovanni, low-key, I also want Henrique. I mean, I think anyone, it would be perfect sense to get Henrique, but I don't think the Oilers are trading him. Chico, if Lou ever retires, they better put a statue of Lou in front of the Rock. We only have the Devils because of him, in my opinion. I definitely think Lou's is statue-worthy. Jason, no, Henrique ain't getting moved. LHM Dougie drives me nuts. Dude is 6'6", and he hits like a toddler. Yeah, he had that one hit. I forget what team it was on. Someone was coming up with the puck, and he rocked the guy and knocked him off the puck, and I think he immediately passed it to Jack, and then we got a goal. It was like his highlight hit of the season. Will Lou be buried with Jimmy Hoffa? Why did we trade Rico? Because we needed defense badly. I wasn't a big fan of that trade either. That was the trade that we got Vatanen. Chico, on the flyer on Zegras, I'm not saying take Zegras over, for example, McCann, but by flyer, I just mean there's nothing else. Let's flip a coin on this one. $6 million a year, though. I mean, listen, I suppose it'd be better than nothing, but I do think there's better options out there. Oh, boy. Natural Canopy, bring in Mitch Marner in the offseason. Oh, boy. Another child that's going to want a lot of money. Joseph says, Grizzly man like Phil Kessel. Oh, boy, Phil Kessel. I wanted him for so many years, and then it just got too late. And but what a legend Phil Kessel is. Blackatron says, Lou isn't statue worthy. He's ugly bust worthy all day, though. I think he's all right. You going with a bust? Trevor, players with term is what we need. I 100% agree with that. I don't want rentals. Husky Unchained says, speaking of Zegras, has anyone scored at Michigan this year? I thought there was one. There may have been two. I think there was two on the same night, wasn't there? Or was that last year? My mind is... I think there was two on the same night. And I think one was Zegras. I think it was Zegras and... Was it Zegras and Bedard? It was. Zegras and Bedard both had a Michigan on the same night earlier in the season. It was crazy. Cerberus says, size doesn't mean much if you don't have the mentality. Look at Zaka. Absolutely useless here. Never engaged with anyone. Luke says, Rico trade didn't pan out. Coleman trade as well. Husky and Chain, if they did, we would have heard about Tortorella committing a felony. Is that about the Michigan? I know that Tortorella hates the Michigan. Who would be worse, Marner or Pedersen? Probably Pedersen. LHM, pass on Marner. Judah's going to want way too much. Leafs are going to try to keep him too. Yeah, I don't want him. Hot Dog Phil, what a legend. It got too late and wide for Kessel. Yeah, he got pretty wide. Gravity guy, it's going to be a busy night. Maybe it's more of a busy morning. Trevor says no to Marner. We have these guys already. I couldn't agree more. It's redundant. I don't want more and more of the same players. That is why we were struggling because and I've said this for years. Our best offensive players are fairly similar. We need dogs and big men. Give me big men. I would love a center like Jason Arnott. They don't make him anymore. Maybe in a scientific laboratory, but would love a big hulking center at some point. Bedard and Zegras Michigans were last year, were they? That was last season? Wow. It was last season. Yeah, it was around last Christmas, December 23rd. Wow. It was last year. Luke says, boys, let's stay positive. We lost Jack for the year. Dougie may be dead, but at least Pilat is off the top line. Chico, at Van Walen, you do not matter. I won't mark your words. I'll forget them and you until the next time your crazy ass comes here ranting about the guy who cucked you. I missed all this. Oh, that's in reference to Devs won't even make it to the Eastern Conference Finals with Keefe, Chico. Mark my words. Luke, am I the only guy boozing on a Thursday? Go. No work on Canada Day. Roman Czechmonic, our needs with Hughes are all different than our needs with him. We need another skill guy to even compete. But I don't think Fitz is looking at it as Just purely for this season. That's the thing. Like, the team has plenty of holes going forward. So I'm hoping he's looking at, pieces that are going to be good when Jack is here. I don't think he's trying to replace Jackhughes by any means. He's just trying to make the team, is improve the team as much as he can at the deadline, with hopefully guys with term that are here next year and beyond when Jack is here. Chico, if you bring in Marner, in my opinion, you have to bring in a new center too and move Jack to the wing. Marner, Hughes, Bratt would be great for about a game until Jack got hurt again, and then no interest in Marner. Again, way too much money. Move on. Luke, can we kidnap a Kachuk like that 80s, 90s movie where they kidnapped the basketball player? What movie was that? Mark, speaking of Torts, you got to like him. He said, forget suits. I'm going to dress like I'm a divorced, unemployed dad. I've always liked Torts. Always hoped he would coach the Devils one day. Never happened. Giovanni, bro, when are we realistically getting a trade? Because I'm trying to sleep. I don't think we're going to hear anything else till tomorrow, sometime between 2 and, I guess I'll go 12 and 3, but I think it's going to be later than not, because I think FITZ is going to be kicking tires all over the place. I predict tomorrow it's like at 2:30. That's when we hear a deal. Maybe we see a smaller one earlier. Oh, man, if we get like a deal announced at like 11 a.m. and it's like another defenseman, X is gonna melt down entirely. Every Devils fan on X is just going to lose their minds. LHM says, hear me out. Top line of McDermott, Cotter, and Nason. Luke, is Fitz even really looking at it? I mean, is he sober? Is he lucid? Is he wearing his glasses? Mark says, thank God my students are taking a test tomorrow. I'm not going to be able to teach and look at my phone at the same time. Luke says, is there a fight in the chat? I don't think so. Giovanni, oh, hell no, I'm going to bed. Good night, sir. Good night. Gravity guy, I've been waiting for the Leafs to do something. What are you waiting for the Leafs to do, Gravity guy? Natural Canopy, reason why teams don't trade with us because they can smell the bourbon through the phone. If they smell the bourbon through the phone, they might be more excited to try to make a deal. SJ, surely Fitz sees this team just needs more goals, right? I'd imagine so. Husky and Shane Jack's currently sitting on his parents' couch, eating gummy worms and drinking Kool-Aid from his sippy cup, waiting for the trade deadline like the rest of us. Man, you guys are brutal. I wonder where he is. He's probably... Nice 14. Ryan Donato has 3 more points than Nelson, by the way. LHM, bag of chips for McDavid and Draisaitl, 150% retained. Van Walen, Colorado secured the next 3 years of cup contention. Colorado's going to be a beast for a long time. A really long time. Luke says, wanted no part of Nelson. Nice 14. Nelson looks pretty decent at 4 Nations. Luke, I'd take Palms for a second and Stillman. SJ, I like Nelson, not at that price. Luke says Lou would turn Stillman into Clarkson 2.9. I don't think Stillman's going to become anything, man. I just don't see it. Vic, off topic, Andy Strickland tweeted, Mikko declined a trade to the Kings as he had zero interest in signing there in the offseason. It's interesting. I wonder why that is. It is crazy how much power players have now and how much more they have now than back in the day. Like, it wasn't like this back in the day. It's just modern athletes, I suppose. Mark, Nelson looks like every character from a 1950s comic book. Oh, boy. Van Walen. Nelson looks like Chico and his neighborhood mailman. What? Natural Canopy. McCarr with 6 points tonight. Six points. Sakic is a great GM. Yeah, Joe Sakic. Legend. Marcus Kanza. Fits at Blake Shelton. He's wasted in telling everyone how he was the captain of the Predators once. Jay Snow, Ace is doing a 24-hour stream. No, I'm definitely not doing a 24-hour stream. I'm going to stay on here for a little bit longer. This is entertaining. I'm enjoying myself. But I will eventually get off in the not-too-distant future and get my rest, get my beauty sleep, and refuel. Because tomorrow I'm going to be back at this thing. This was the night. Well, actually, happy deadline day to all of you. It's officially deadline day. I lost track of the time. It's 12:37. It is now officially Friday, March 7th, and it is now officially deadline day. We started off on the night before deadline day, and we're going to eventually finish this thing up on deadline day itself. We inch closer to the 3 p.m. deadline, and we are all hoping for some meaningful additions by Boo's face. Husky Unchained, we should trade Halla for Zaka. Imagine that shit. No, I can't imagine that ever happening. It would be funny. Blackatron, if a bad trade goes down when Ace is streaming, we could see a live crash out. It's definitely possible. Luke, the season-long lockout ruined it. Hard cap is dumb. No reward for drafting because you have to pay a guy like the NFL was doing in the 90s. Should be the way it was. No control until 29-30. Paid on what you do, not what you could do. Oh, we're living in the hypothetical world, right? They're just gambling essentially. They're like, we hope you pan out. Here's your money. Trevor, this core worried me years ago. Now, unfortunately, coming to fruition. I mean, I think the criticisms or questions are valid. I think, depending on how the season ends, or even, however it ends, I think, there's enough body of work now to where people are going to start questioning, is the core flawed? Is the core capable of winning, et cetera, et cetera? And I understand why. I fully understand why. Whip out the 5-hour energy, Ace. I'm more of an iced coffee guy or Monster Energy. Jason, no, I think Fitz gets us a center. That's it. Nato and Tanev, would you be happy? I don't know about happy. I guess somewhat satisfied, maybe. Happy, I think, is strong though. I don't think I could use the word happy. Natural Canopy Ace, just start boozing easily, can make it till 8 a.m. Oh, boy. Trevor, Ace, let's pull an all-nighter. I'll supply the Red Bull Dirty Devils. I can't do it. It's just too long of a day tomorrow. And realistically, nothing is going to happen between now and tomorrow morning. So I'd rather get my beauty sleep and be fresh for tomorrow when things are actually going to happen. Stanley62495, no matter what happens, we definitely need Booze Face merch. Jay Snow, what's this Booze Face? Why are they calling him that? Snow, you've been here, no? I mean, this has been going on for a couple days now. This is Luke's nickname. He started calling him Booze Face, and everyone's run wild with it. It sounds like a third grade insult. It kind of does, but it's still kind of funny. Mark, I literally work with someone whose last name is Fitz. I may go and yell at her after the deadline is over. Luke, love it, Ace. Booze Face Nation. By the way, I can't take all the credit. I mean, Tom Fitzgerald did all the work. LHM, I'm hoping I don't have to sit through another rebuild without knowing success. This shit is going to be torture. When did you become a fan, LHM? Fans that have seen winning teams are completely fed up. I really do. I think fans that have seen winning, that know what proud franchises look like, to see how far we've fallen and how we've just been stuck in shit for nearly 12 years. It's just very saddening. And I know a lot of you other old timers here are right there with me. SJ Sakic was a legendary player, like almost Lemieux level. So I told this story. I may or may not have told this story. I don't remember. This is way before I had the channel. Did I tell this story? Anyway, years ago, this is going back, I guess, 6.5 years ago. I went to the great Martin Brodeurs Hall of Fame weekend in Toronto. Obviously, Marty's my favorite player of all time. I have a mini shrine to him behind me and a lot more Marty items, but huge Marty collector, huge Marty fan, favorite player of all time. I went to his Hall of Fame induction weekend, and when I was at Toronto Airport, I had just gotten through security, and I think I was like trying to get a coffee or some shit, like, you know, going towards my gate, but I was early. I saw Joe Sakic walking through the airport, and I yelled out, "Joe!" He was like a couple feet away, and he turned around, and I walked towards him. And I said, "Joe," I said, it was a pleasure to watch your career. I said, but I'm a Devils fan, and I'll never get over 2001. And he cracked a big smile, and then we went our separate ways. It would have been a funny video if I filmed it, but like that's, I think, a little creepy given the, you know, I never want to be that guy, but I'll never forget it, running into Sakic in the airport. I loved him before that finals. Marcus Stans, the only thing that'll be on Devil's Twitter tomorrow is a police body cam footage of a drunk Fitz being pulled out of his car and tased. Luke, Jason, YouTube Fitzgerald's pressers and his ultimate, the Luke Hughes pick with Stillman after. Whoa, look at Friedman's tweet. What do we got? Which one are you referring to? Okay, something else tonight. Hearing talks are intensifying to send Rantanen to the Stars. Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah, let him go to the Stars. David says, I second Boozeface merch. Stanley, Boozeface has been around for a few weeks now. Luke was saying Boozeface, I feel like months and months ago. Jay Snow, I think you have to split this core. If no playoffs, it would suck, but it has to be done. Dogzilla, losing Jack and other injuries, the hockey gods punishing the Devils for not playing Big Mac. His presence changed complexion of games and definitely added a layer of protection. You guys know I believe in the Big Mac effect. I've been talking about it for months. For whatever reason, people point like he sucks, he can't skate, he doesn't do anything. In the end, our other bottom six guys are not scoring at all. So while I'm not saying that McDermott's going to score, McDermott does bring the toughness element and kind of the morale boost versus the bottom 6 guys that are just not scoring or bringing anything. So if no one's going to score in the bottom 6, we might as well play the guy McDermott that brings those other things that no one else can bring. That's kind of where I'm at with that. LHM, been a fan since 2018-19, went from rebuild to rebuild. You don't have enough years in the game. Luke says these West Coast GMs showing East Coast GMs. That's how concerts, how to work. Rantanen versus Colorado in the first round. That'd be interesting. Metalander, it takes too long to realize that a complete teardown is needed. It could be. Rantanen to Dallas confirmed. Where is that? Rantanen, Canes legend. Imagine being some idiot who bought a Rantanen Canes jersey. I'm sure people did. SST, you told that story about the airport in Sackett before. I prefaced the story with, I may have told the story before. Some of the people in here never heard me tell it before. Natural Canopy, Canes look idiotic. There was an interview from Natchez that the Canes should have known if Mikko would re-sign in Carolina. Well, maybe they thought they could sell him on the vision of their team and the location and try to get him to sign for less than he was asking for or less than he was hoping to get. Blackatron, good. Go to Dallas. I hope his production continues to drop off a cliff with a $15 million contract. Trevor says, I'd assume Dallas would get a good player in return. Otherwise, they lost a good player for nothing. Man, Friedman's slow to the draw here. I'm curious to see what this return is. I'm trying to find the Rantanen and stuff myself. X is blowing up with it, but I still don't see the return. I still don't see it confirmed anywhere either. I'm so curious to see. Details coming. LHM, there was a Canes fan on Instagram who was in a Devils post boasting about how they got a superstar, and I was just cackling. We're waiting for the return on Rantanen. Mark says, Stanley, you got to have a sense of humor when you teach math to a bunch of 13-year-olds who don't want to learn math. Dallas got worse. Man, Dallas looks good, but who did they trade? That's the $1 million question at this hour. Who did they trade? I wonder if it was all futures, if it's going to be like picks and has anyone found it yet? People are speculating crazy. There's some crazy speculations out here. I would have to believe they're going to try. It was future pieces. I mean, what is the point of? Luke says Canes really screwed the pooch. Devils can't take advantage because of Fitzgerald. Vic, man, Nelson to Colorado for a first rounder and a prospect. Ethan says we should get Trevor Zegras. I disagree. Too many children. Too many children. I've seen speculation of Wyatt Johnston, aka the man that went on an end-to-end breakaway and scored against the Devils a minute and a half into that Dallas game. LHM, just thought I'd remind everyone the Devils are 12-5-4 with McDermott in the lineup. I'd certainly take that. I would certainly take that. Man, this is crazy. When are we going to freaking see the return on this thing? Wow. I guess I forgot about West Coast teams. That's true. I guess I usually don't stay up all night watching this shit, and I just wake up in the morning. So I guess, yeah, it does seem kind of late, though. But I guess on the West, it's only 9:52 West Coast time. But it is pretty late for trades to be coming out. Metalander says the West is going to be a dogfight. Luke, anyone notice the uptick in fighting since Four Nations? Has there been an uptick league wide? I mean, we're Devils fans. We were falsely kind of teased early in the season with a lot of fights, and then we had no fights for like 2 months. Zachary Dumoulin is 30 years old, and NJ gave up a second rounder. Is that too much for a D-man? In the end, it's negligible, in my opinion. Maybe a slight overpayment, but in the end, I'm waiting to see what is the total. What is all the I have to look at the total of all the moves FITZ makes and what else is on the agenda before tomorrow. SST says FITZ is on the way home from the concert. We'll be making trades within 20 minutes. Stay tuned. Oh, relax, guy. It was late. Okay, the Devils won 3 cups in your 20s. All right. Gem Card says Canes are getting smoked round 1 to Devils if we make the right moves. Hall and Lazard of the wings. Get 2 centers that can win faceoffs and dish the puck. Chico just got back. Friedman reported ran into the Stars. We already saw that. That's old. That's like 5 minutes ago, my man. Jason, no, we're all waiting for a move and we're going to get nothing. Watch. I think we're getting at least one. I really do. Ace, Luke says, Ace, you forgot the West Coast. Yeah, I know, but are GMs on the East Coast staying up all night? Both of the trades we just saw in the past hour included East Coast teams. It was Avalanche and Islanders. So Uncle Lou was up past midnight or at midnight, whatever. And then you're talking now this is Stars and Canes who are an East Coast team. So GMs are literally burning the late night, the midnight oil, literally. And we're now going into the 1 o'clock hour. Man, I wonder if this is just a BS rumor. Mark says FITZ traded Mercer for backstage passes to Blake Shelton. Luke, let's be honest. We need Markstrom to steal a lot of games. Felt if he was as sharp as before the injury, they might win it. Oh, man, another speculation on X is Harley. Man, would they really? I feel like the Stars aren't that dumb. Harley's a beast. He had a great Four Nations. He came in the tournament late, and then he's been on fire ever since. LHM says, a gem card about the Canes. No way we'd smoke them. They're playoff regulars, and we barely have any experience. Brindamore's system covers up a lot of that team's flaws. Blackatron, Ace is tired and snippy. I'm enjoying the banter. Ask him again about Trevor Zegras. Hell no. No Trevor Zegras. Still nothing from Friedman, I know. Is it possible that one of the teams might come out with it first? Nothing from the Stars. I'm already annoyed for what tomorrow is going to be. Just constantly, and I hope this doesn't happen to us where like there's a heavy rumor and then like a long time goes by before details come out. That would suck. Luke, all GMs are up. Only one isn't working. Well, unless you count trying to nail some Iron Pound. Zachary, Quinn Hughes from Vancouver got to come home and play with his bros. Dude doesn't want to be a part of the rebuild with the Canucks. I just don't understand the obsession with Quinn Hughes. I guess I get it to an extent, but I'm just so surprised how many people like Quinn Hughes. There's so many players in the league I'd rather have than Quinn Hughes right now, given where the Devils are at and the needs that they have. Tyler says, Elliott only said talks were intensifying. He didn't confirm a trade. Mark, it is being confirmed, reported that Fitz made it home safe, and he's walking around his house drunk in a shirt. David Chimes, random Devil legend shout out to Vladimir Malikov, forgotten part of Cup number 2. I like it. Number 7 on the 2000 New Jersey Devils. Luke, Fitz should trade Allen to Edmonton and get something. Dawes has shown enough, and Allen deserves a chance at the Cup. So I'm pretty sure, and again, I don't remember all of the specifics, but dating back to last year, Fitz was claiming that Allen didn't want to come here mid-season, which I always said I thought was a load of bullshit. But either way, he had to like convince him to come here. And I think part of that was assuring him that he wasn't going to be moved from the Devils. And so I don't know if that's fact or whatever, but I do think there's a good chance that, you know, if it was up to me, I would definitely trade Allen. I've seen enough from Dawes to believe in him. And it's like, if Markstrom gets hurt, then, you know, then I just say you hope for the best. But down all these frigging guys, what horrible luck that would be. And I would have to take my chances with Dawes. If Allen can get you any sort of return, I would trade him for sure. But I think him and Fitz have an agreement. Vic says Spit and Chicklets just tweeted Mikko to Dallas is heating up, so not official. Yeah, I mean, I think Elliott Friedman has better connects than they do. I think they're probably just playing off his report. Jason, our problem is scoring, not preventing scoring. I agree with that as well. LHM, some speculation that Middlestat might be a target. Chico, regarding Quinn, I wonder how many people are just scarred from the Need saga when he left to win one with his brother. I do often think about what could have happened had Lou just signed or traded for Rob. I think he did. And at the time, Brian Murray, the GM of the Ducks, I think he knew that was kind of a thing for for Scott Niedermayer. And I've heard a rumor that Lou tried to get Rob Niedermayer sooner, but Brian Murray knew that Rob Niedermayer was the key to get Scott. And he was like, I'm not trading you Rob. And then eventually was able to get Scott to come from New Jersey. But in the end, we have 2 Hughes brothers. And so assuming that Luke is extended at some point this summer, the path of least resistance for all 3 of them to play together would obviously be Quinn coming to New Jersey when he's a free agent. But who knows? I don't think either one of them, Luke or Jack, would have a desire to go play in Vancouver. Brian J., I think Jack and Luke don't want to be a part of the Devils rebuild. I mean, the rebuild was kind of, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a rebuild. I think at this point it's going to be more of a retooling. Most of our top guys are in place. LHM says, I like your thought there. Dawes has proven he can be a backup, so Allen can make a good piece for a contender. I just kind of talked about that for a second. Ethan says, F it. Let's just trade all of our first forever and Jack for a 5th and 7th. That's what Fitz will do. Blackatron, if Fitz got Zegers, Ace would pop a blood vessel in his eye. I don't know about all that, but I wouldn't be thrilled. Gem Card says, Middlestat is tiny. Just got smoked in the Sharks game. Don't want him at all. Brian says, F the agreement. But you don't want to burn a guy like Allen. I think that would kind of give Fitz a poor reputation amongst players throughout the league. And for what, a 2nd-round pick? What are we going to really get for Allen? In a vacuum, I would love to trade him. But I think if he has that agreement in Allen, listen, and if he does have some sort of agreement, he should actively be seeing the interest in him and then approaching Allen with it and be like, listen, I know we had this deal, but do you want to go to a team like in Edmonton maybe where you could potentially steal the starting job? I'd be curious to know what he would want to do. He's never going to start in New Jersey for the playoffs if we make it, unless Markey gets hurt. So unless he plans on pulling a Tanya Harding and having someone whack Markey's kneecaps. Luke says, I actually remember hearing that nonsense. Maybe Allen is just a weirdo. Allen does have a crazy 12-team no trade for a journeyman. Natural Canopy. Breaking news. We have found Fitz. He was passed out in the back of the Bing. Luke says the key is will Nico resign and will he put them over a barrel? We eventually got Rob Niedermayer and the nickname Special Needs is born. You guys are brutal. Brian J., I'm imagining Fitz drunk like Hasselhoff was in that video eating a burger. Ace takes some call-ins. I think Frank the Tank is ready for a call-in. I don't know if I could deal with Frank. I've seen a couple things of Frank the Tank's crazy screaming rants where you could barely hear what he's saying. Vic says, I say Fitz does shit tomorrow. I can't see it. Chico, on reputation, it matters, but winning matters more. If he's able to move Allen to a desperate team for a real 3C or a top 6 winger, he's got to do it, in my opinion. I mean, look at Vegas. Oh, I don't think he's getting any of those pieces, bud. I think a 2nd-round pick, if you're lucky. So I guess maybe a 3C still seems steep because I think there's way more people in the market, way more teams in the market for a 3rd-line center than a goalie. And so I think the price, it wouldn't necessarily be equal. Natural Canopy says, Luke, I can't wait for Frank the Tank tomorrow. Natural Canopy Ace, thoughts on Frank the Tank? I've seen him around the rock. I've never talked to him. I've only seen a couple of his videos. I don't know. I think it's a little shticky. Like some of the stuff he does is a little bit of a shtick. But I don't really know enough about him. I've seen, like I said, I've seen a couple clips here and there. And I think he does play it up for, his character or whatever you want to call it. I typically don't like shticks like that. So it's not really my thing, but I get, I guess, why he does it, I suppose. I don't know. Everybody's trying to be like some sort of online character or I don't know, personality. I don't know what the hell you want to call it, but it seems a lot of acting, I guess I'll call it acting. Luke, 60 likes, pick it up. Hit it for your boy. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. Happy deadline day, fellas and ladies, if there's any in here. I'm not sure if there is, but sometimes there is. It might be, this might be an all fellas version at the moment. Mark Allen ain't fetching anything like that, Chico. His Blues days are way behind him. I could see a team maybe throwing a second, though. I took a picture once with Frank while he was pissed. While he was pissed or while he was pissing, Roman? That's a very big difference. You took a picture with him while he was pissed or while he was pissing? SST is ridiculous. I don't even know why. He might get banned again, guys. I just, why trade Allen if Markstrom could get a bigger return? I think I'm going to have to take a poll, and I think he's going to get banned again. Gem Card, I watch Frank videos after every game. It's tradition now. Chicago at Markey, statistically one of the best goalies in the NHL right now. And in terms of goals saved above expected, he'd be the Oilers' best goalie by a country mile. Natural Canopy, compromise your starter and you have the same issue you had. Why even entertain this idiot? Evan says Frank is annoying. Allen has proved as good as Markstrom this season. Come on. Mark, Rob Niedermayer was part of that 08-09 squad with Ralston, Holik, and Shanahan. I actually like that roster. And shout out to Brendan Shanahan. I was doing some research for a project last night, and I had forgotten that in the 08-09 season, as a 40-year-old man, Brendan Shanahan fought a legitimate NHL heavyweight in Eric Bolton. It's psychotic. A 40-year-old, already first ballot Hall of Famer fought Eric Bolton. That is just nutty behavior from an absolute legend of the game. Wild stuff. Luke says Allen to Edmonton, best case 3, but 4 and a player is good would be great. LHM, kind of insane to me that Edmonton has 2 blocks of Swiss cheese in net, and they're not looking to upgrade their goaltending considering they're trying to contend for the cup. Well, maybe they are. You don't know. Jay Snow says the Frank thing is definitely like a bit. It certainly seems that way. Evan, I saw him at the Devils Islanders game back in October, and he was ranting for no reason. Ethan, do you think tomorrow we are keeping Mercer tomorrow as we're sadly going? I think he's being floated in deals. Whether he actually gets traded or not is a different story, but I do think he is being offered up in some, potentially in a couple different deals. Kyle says, met him at the Rock. He's a nice guy besides his crash out vids. Trevor 95, Quinn Hughes equals what we hope Nemitz or Casey can become. If we were to get him, it better be in free agency. I completely agree. If people are in management, especially, is obsessed with getting Quinn Hughes, then wait till free agency when we could get him for no assets. Furthermore, I don't think, Trevor, that anyone thinks Nemitz or Casey is going to become Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes could be the second best defenseman in the league behind Cale Makar. But if not, he's definitely in the top few. I think that would be really kind of setting up Nemitz or Casey for failure if you are, expecting them to be that. I think that's very lofty expectations. Jason says, I thought the same thing after that SST take. Yeah, I know. Nancy says, Frank the Tank is the biggest waste of space ever besides Nate Bastian. Oh, boy. Jason says, Markstrom's back is broken from carrying the Devils. Mark, FITZ update. He has been spotted drunkenly wandering downtown Newark shirt, rocking a Probert jersey and challenging college kids to a fight. LHM, I doubt they'll move Mercer, though. He has too much term on his bridge deal. Chico, I still remember Shanny's comeback. His first game, he had a wraparound goal. Luke, Frank the Tank is a character. Happy he's got a living. Not clowning. Good for him. He's special needs, makes more than dudes lazy AF sitting home. He got his moment losing it in NJT, and they suck. Mark says, dude, Shanahan fought Donald Brashear when Shanny was with the Rangers. Yeah, what a wild man. What a wild, wild dog. Love me some Shanny. I was pumped when Shanny came to the Devils also. So many legends we saw. A lot of them towards the end of their careers, but wow. What a treat to see guys like Shanny come back to the Devils. So many of those guys over the years. Husky Unchained, 5.76 subs, 5.76K subs now. Well deserved, brother. Let's go Devils. Thanks, man. Thanks. It's been a sort of a fun ride. It's a lot of it's painful on some nights, but it's been fun. Get Yager. Nancy says, bro, get Mercer and Nemitz out of here. There's a possibility. Searle says, best demon in the NHL is objectively either Hughes or McCarr. Be lucky if Nemitz or Casey became a fraction of them. Very well said, Searle. I think people throw out these crazy kind of lofty expectations, and it's like, that's the bar you're setting, that these guys are going to become one of the best two in the league. Like, I would be ecstatic, and I forget who, and I want to give credit to whoever said it first. Publicly, but someone had pointed out like, oh, Casey could be like a Rafalski-ish player. And in the end, Rafalski wasn't the best defenseman in the league, but he was a very solid defenseman who had a great career. Like if Seamus Casey even had or became close to the player that Brian Rafalski was, that would be an amazing win for the Devils. But that's a far cry from, McCarr or Quinn Hughes. Trevor says, if we got Quinn, that'd be about $30 million a year to the Hughes family. I know. I just don't, to tie that kind of money up on defense, I think would be kind of irresponsible, but who knows? A lot of things could happen between then and now. Mark Costanza, Zach Werenski is also up there with Quinn, but he's not with a big market team. That's fair. Werenski belongs in that group with them as well. David Chimes, Shanahan for Stevens was even. I thought it was Devils weighted at the time in arbitration, but I was wrong. Shanahan was an all-time great power forward, taking nothing away from Stevens there. No, but the Devils definitely got the best of that trade. Yeah, what a wild chain of events that whole situation was. And props to Lou for demanding Stevens as compensation for that tampering. It changed the whole franchise. It's wild. Chico says, Shanny, 1,354 points, 2,489 PIMs in 1,524 games. Stanley, 5.7K subs is pretty solid. That's 1/3 of a sellout. Yeah, I suppose so. It is interesting. I do see other teams. I don't really, waste a ton of time doing it, but I occasionally scan just to look at other channels of other teams to get some inspiration or ideas. I just kind of flip around a lot and just kind of see what other teams, what other channels of other teams are doing. And it is crazy. There's the markets and the amount of fans of other teams is just crazy. I see some channels where I'm it's okay. And not that I'm saying my channel's so great, but I see channels that I think are kind of bad, but have tons of subs because they're just of teams with way bigger fan bases than the Devils. And I'm like, damn it. If I could, if I was a fan of another team, I might be able to become bigger and, have more opportunity to do cool stuff, but it is what it is. I enjoy this. Searle at Costanza, Werenski is without a doubt top 5, especially this season, but McCarr and Hughes are still better by all accounts. Yeah, but Werenski's going to be in the conversation. Luke, I'd take Yager right now over 5 guys on this roster. And what does that say about this team? It says that you would rather have an aging all-time great than than the bottom 6 we currently have. LHM, watching Casey does give me a lot of hope. His first game back in the NHL after a significant time and he scores, kid is going to be special. I like him a lot. I'm completely on the Casey bandwagon. Stanley says NJ won that trade. Shanahan, well, it was like an arbitration award, I think. Shanahan was an amazing player, but Stevens became the backbone of an entire organization. I agree. Mark, do we have Shanahan and Verbeek at the same time? Big time career points and penalty minutes for both. Yeah, I believe in the 80s, they were both on the team simultaneously. Before my time. But, yeah, at least in 88, 89. And they probably overlap for a little more than that. Let me see. Yeah, Shanny's rookie season was 87, 88. They were both there. They were both there in 88, 89. Yeah, a couple seasons with both of them. Luke, Rafalski's a borderline Hall of Famer. People sleep on this guy. Beats if the Giants he played with. SST, when Runnin says he's enjoying talking to us all, obviously he's lying. Well, I don't enjoy talking to you, but most of the other people talking about trading Markstrom was just so ridiculous. Trevor, hope I'm wrong, but after this injury, Jack might never be the guy we thought he could be. I hate to say this, but you could be right. I mean, at this point, I think he would be classified as damaged goods. I mean, I was afraid of that after last year with the way the season ended, but now you're talking about the same shit 2 years in a row. Like, you know, this is going to be a lingering issue for his whole career. Let's call it what it is. Like, this is not just going to be, oh, he got the surgery and now it's all better than ever. Like, Jack was playing with this in the back of his head this year. You could tell he was really trying to avoid contact, really didn't want to be hit. And, you know, how is that going to, he was already acting like that after it happened one time. How is he going to act when he comes back after it's now happened 2 years in a row? He is going to be very skittish, and it's unfortunate for, you know, this thing is going to haunt him. And I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't see how that's not the reality of the situation. It's super unfortunate, but, you know, that's reoccurring injuries with the same shit. Guys are going to start playing different. Oh, we're going to the Rantanen deal. Vic says reported Stankoven, Bork, and Bischel. Canes to retain 25%, not official. Chico says, honestly, would not mind Shanny in our front office if the Leafs fire him. Oh, that'd be interesting. That would be interesting. Mark says, Jack may end up being like an Eric Daze where he has great talent, but injuries prevent him from taking that next step. I mean, I think let me just make sure I'm not misremembering. I don't think Daze ever had seasons remotely like jackhughes. No. He had 7. I mean, yeah, he did a little better than I remembered, but yeah, I mean, mostly in the 40s, 30s. Jay Snow, look at how many channels the Rangers have. Yeah, I've seen a couple. What do they have? Like maybe 4 or 5? I don't know. I've seen a couple. I haven't looked at Ranger stuff in a minute. One of my buddies is a Ranger fan. The guys you guys call Roger Clemens, Chris. He sent me something a couple weeks ago. Chico, I think the way to go if you want to do this full time is the hockey guy. It's an insane amount of work, but it paid off. Love the hockey guy too. No, I don't want to do this full time. I mean, I would love to do it full time, but not like that. Like that's way too much work. And I think it's nearly impossible to make a full time go out of this, I believe. Shout out to Shannon. That guy's been killing it for years. But outside of something like that, like a full scale blitz where you're just putting out like videos on every team, every single thing, like I would die personally. It's a whole lot. And even doing that is not guaranteed. The path to actually make real money doing any of this is virtually non-existent. Natural Canopy says, relax, Mark. Go get FITZ. David Chimes, Stanley, even value, not Shanny's fault. Blues didn't win a cup. Oh, this is like a Shanny Stevens debate here. Luke, Ace, better to a big fish in a small pond. I don't know what that is exactly. LHM, Marcus stands. I think at the end of the Jack is going to have to alter how he plays. He's going to need to protect his body more and not make plays that put him at risk as much. Yeah, that is huge, man. He was already doing that to some extent this season, I feel like. How are you going to play in the NHL when in the back of your mind, like he'll find a way to do it, but that's not ideal where you're constantly playing scared that guys are going to hit you and then you're going to break. I don't know how he protects his body more. And again, the type of player that he is when he has the puck so much and he's flying around at high speed and cutting through and doing dances all over the place, it's going to be rough. Jay Snow, the other Devils podcast is brutal. Ace. Okay. Luke, Yager isn't aging, is aged. Trevor says SST must be a rags, bro. Ryder, we don't need another one. Ace is solid. Natural, locked on. Oh, come on. You guys are. LHM, Chico, love THG. He's the only other hockey channel I follow besides Chicklets. Yo, check out my man Cam. Cam and Strick podcast is great. They get great guests. Love Cam and Strick. I was just listening to them in the car earlier today, but check them out if you haven't ever seen them. LHM. World's worst gamer. The 87-88 Cinderella team had them both. That's in reference back to the Shanny Verbeek talk from a couple minutes ago. Searle, I think saying jackhughes probably can't be the best forward on a cup-winning team may be fair. I think that's more than fair. I mean, I don't, how do you define best, right? Like, I don't like words like best and things of that nature. I think he could potentially be the best player on a cup-winning team, but I think there has to be a good. He can't be expected to. I guess be the main guy. I guess. Could you be the main guy and not be the best? I don't know. I understand what you're saying. I do feel like he would be better with. He has a supporting cast here. That's the problem. Yeah, they're all just kids, man. And that's what I've been just not necessarily down on the team, but it's hard when you're a young kid feeling that pressure that you're expecting. The expectations are high, and the other best players in the team are also all kids. It's I feel like he would be great on a team like Florida that's kind of stacked. There's some more veteran guys. Like, I feel like he's better suited for that, like where it's not all eyes on him 24/7. And I feel like he probably feels that in New Jersey. Chico, I know he's not popular around here, but I do enjoy Steve Dangle too. I can't stand him. After he talked all that crap about Marty last year, in his sports analytics nonsense, I was just freaked out. Mark Costanzo, Werenski doesn't have as good of forwards as Vancouver and Colorado, so taking that into account, I would say that makes Werenski even more impressive. I mean, he looked great in Four Nations as well. He's definitely a threat, and he's going to be a big part. He's going to be a big part of the Team USA at the Olympics next season. That team should be sick. I think you're going to see some improvements. Obviously, some of those Ranger forwards, Vinny Trocheck and Kreider, probably not going to make the cut, and you'll probably see, guys like Tage Thompson, Jason Robertson. Like, that team next year should be loaded. Billy G is going to have a loaded team. Trevor95 says, SST always trolling Rags vibes. Chico, on Jack's injury, I'm not a doctor, but my understanding is that the shoulder is remarkably recoverable, at least as far as injuries go. If it were a leg or concussions, he'd be... I mean, but, like, how much stock do you really put into that, man? That the doctor said it's recoverable? Like, they said that last year, too, my guy. And what happened? He got slammed on it again this year, and breaky, or I don't know if it's breaky, but whatever it was, season over. I mean, in the end, season over. Luke, too much to type because so much goes into it, but Lou had moves that would have drove us crazy, but most paid off. Maybe. Roman check Monic. Do we like Casey Middlestat in the middle six for forward or not? Do the Avs really want to trade him? I think there's better options for the Devils out there. With that being said, everything is circumstantial. But again, the bar, if you're talking about improving the roster, the bar is very low. And I don't like singling guys out. But if you look at the stats for the bottom six as a whole has been virtually non-existent for the entire year. So if you're talking about improving the bottom six, the bar is very low as to what would constitute an upgrade. That is the reality we're looking at. So is Middlestat an upgrade? For sure. But I do think there is better pieces out there that could be had. It wouldn't be ideal in my opinion. Ryder says, definitely better off that it's a right shoulder injury as a left shot. Also not a doctor, but that's my common sense input. That can make sense. Mark, FITZ update. FITZ shaved his head and dyed his hair gray. Wait, how do you shave your head and dye your hair gray, Mark? He's been seen running down the street claiming he's the new Lou Lamoriello. Trevor says to SST, trading Markey comment amongst others. David chimes, before the injury, did you catch that he developed a big-time slap shot? So, listen, that he's had that for a while, and I said this, I don't know who caught it or not, and we hadn't seen it a lot in games, which I thought was interesting, because for the past at least couple years, even a few years maybe, at the end of every single warm-ups, and I love warm-ups. I loved it as a kid. I remember being super excited to get to the games early and go watch warm-ups when I was a kid going to Devils games, and to this day, it's something I still do. Love watching warm-ups. At the end of every warm-up, for like the last 2 minutes or so, Jack and Mercer line up opposite each other on the wings, and they pass pucks back and forth, and they take turns hammering one-timers. And I remember the first time I saw them do it, I was like, holy shit, Jack has a cannon blast. Why do we never see that in games? And even to this day, it's not very common. But we saw glimpses of it in the past week or so, or whatever it's been since the Four Nations. In that first game back from the Four Nations at home against Dallas, Jack had 2 goals. They were both just crazy rippers, like one-time rippers. And then he did it again, I think maybe in the next game. Was it, what was the next game? Colorado, maybe? I think it was Colorado. But he had 3 goals in a row that were all just bombs. And he's had that shot for a while. He just doesn't utilize it a lot in game. I was glad to see a few goals like back-to-back-to-back of that variety. But he's had that shot for a while, and it's not by accident. He practices that a lot. Dogzilla, Mark Johnson, a miracle team, was also playing when Shanahan was a rookie, along with Verbeek, Bruce Driver. Seen them at South Mountain when I was a youngster. Man, South Mountain days. The good old days. That's when... Take me back. Take me back to the golden era of New Jersey Devils and quite frankly, the golden era of my life. Really. What are your interests outside of hockey? I don't even know. I like long walks on the beach. No. Interest outside of hockey? I don't know. I mean, hockey is pretty much my main hobby and, pastime, whatever you want to call it. Outside of hockey, I don't know. Food, obviously. Food is a huge one. Food is one of my main interests, clearly. Love food. Food, I like traveling here and there. I like music. I like stand-up comedy. That would probably be some of the main ones. I'm trying to think. Food, music, comedy. Yeah, that's probably a pretty, not comprehensive list, but that's probably a pretty good list. I like playing with my I like beating up my little nephews, the crazy guys. They're 8 and about to be 6, little ruffians. I go over to my brother's house and they hate when I go over there because I usually go sometime around dinner time or sometimes between dinner time and bedtime. And they get mad because I go over there. And at this point, I try for it not to happen. But because of, my history, I'm a funkle, guys. I got to be a fun uncle, the funkle. Every time they see me, they think it's like steel cage match wrestling time. So even if I'm like, whoa, everybody calm down, when I go in their house, they just start attacking me and they want to wrestle and do all this stuff. So I always get them riled up before bed. And my brother and sister-in-law don't appreciate it too much. But what are you going to do? Oh, man. Dire Wolf just sucks. Jack's got 2 summers in a row rehabbing a shoulder and not strength and skill training. Yeah. It is unfortunate. Another season where that's not an option. Luke, Ace, where'd you get the Bud Ice Light? I got this years ago. I don't even remember. I didn't just get all this stuff overnight, my man. This is accumulating for 30 years, Luke. You get something over here, something over there, and it just builds. I do have a long-term vision for something I would like to build, but it's going to require, I guess, really the only thing stopping me from building the dream is cash money, but we'll see. I got some very grand ideas. And like I've said before, if I could pull off a quarter of them, there's going to be some very interesting stuff on this channel. Chico, someone said on Twitter they're afraid Hughes will end up like Lindros. And look, I love Jackhughes, but he's nowhere near Lindros at his best. People forget what a menace Lindros was. I mean, yeah, totally different types of player as well. Damn, you guys chat a lot. LHM, checked out Cam and Strick because of your recommendation a while back. Ace, love them. Yeah, Cam's the man. And it's him. When him and Andy fight, it's hilarious. He's always ripping Andy. I got to finish the most recent episode. I was in the car for a while, and I left off, I think, mid-Pronger interview. Their most recent episode was Pronger and Elliot Friedman. Mark Costanza, Lindros was a beast, just didn't know how to keep his head up. Oh, you're not kidding. He definitely didn't know how to keep his head up. Rocked. Can we lure Chara out of retirement? What a beast. What a beast. Ryder, I think we land Ryan O'Reilly and Donato tomorrow. If we don't, I'll be severely disappointed. That'd be a decent day. I would sign up for that for sure. That'd be a pretty successful day. David Chimes, how does Bratt do it? Smaller never gets injured. Well, he has very good vision, and he does have like a strong core, I think. He gets pushed around a little bit, but he's not nearly as weak as Jack. Like I'd imagine he could bench and leg press substantially more than Jack. He has a strong base, and you could see it. And it seems like he's worked on it because, as others have noticed as well, like in battles and stuff, like he doesn't get planted that often. He gets knocked down here and there, but he definitely has a strong base and is good at, staying upright, and he's strong on pucks. They need to hire Elon to build Jack an Iron Man suit. Oh, boy. Luke, the Hughes injury means we either end up like Buffalo with Eichel or Jack accepts he's not the main guy. Well, I mean, does he have to really accept it? He doesn't have to accept anything. You have to get a guy that is the guy, and then he's not the guy. You don't need to ask him like, oh, we're going to get this other guy to be the guy. No, you just get the guy. And then it is what it is. LHM says Brad is older and has much more control in his skating. David, Jesper, Brad is a tank. Dude works out like a madman. I bet he probably does. A lot of Dangle hate. I hate Dangle, bro. He's a clown. Steve Dangle is trash. Dangle's a loser. Mark, a few years back, Jack was supposed to be the guy we were going to build around. I definitely think that ship has sailed. You can't build around such an injury-prone player. Fun fact, I've been banned on 3 Devils channels for telling the truth, including being banned specifically for saying fire FITZ nonstop last season. Stanley62495, Lindros never did it for me. He had a few strong years with the NHL. Was absolutely loaded with top players back then. I always viewed him a tier below. That was like, at least for me, the golden era of hockey. Like the early 90s was crazy. Just star-studded. Chico, the Dangle hate is crazy. He's fine. He's more interesting, at least, in the suit. So, I mean, that's not saying much. But, yeah. Ethan, your opinion, what's the next city to get a new team? From everything I've been hearing, it seems like if I had to bet on it, it would either be Houston or Atlanta, I think would be the 2 front runners for the next expansion teams. Houston and Atlanta. Yeah, Jacob says Houston for sure. Mark, Lindros was pretty much responsible for building the 95-96 Cup-winning Avs team. Oh, with the Forsberg, wasn't it the Forsberg trade? What a draft year. Blackatron, Lou is always up for a deal. Just better check your pockets by the time he's done. Yeah, Lou's not gonna take it easy. You want to deal with Lou, and you're talking about quality forwards at the deadline. You gotta pay the man. Meadowlander, as long as Jack is running down pucks in the corners with bigger opponents, he will be on IR. He needs the right support. Chico says they're definitely going to try Atlanta again eventually. It is crazy, though, to go back to a city that failed versus try a new market. But I guess, this is what it is. Trevor says, Mark, agreed. Jack is no longer the guy to build around. Like I said earlier, you need a Stamkos Prime sort of guy. I mean, Stamkos Primes don't grow on trees, but what an era that was. Young Stammer. Natural Canopy, I'd love Kyle Connor on this team right about now. I think pretty much all teams or fans of teams would like a Kyle Connor. Blackatron, Ace, you should get some sleep. It's going to be a long day tomorrow. I know it is. I'm going to go to sleep soon. Jack, imagine a top line of Eichel, Hughes, and B. Kachuk. Well, you might see something like that on Team USA, my friend, in the Olympics. Luke says, breaking news, the New Jersey are done for the day. Mark says, I'm out of FITZ jokes. Roman, they practice those one-timers because they want to get it all out of their system before the game starts. Both of them never do it. Well, I think it's not Jack's preferred kind of shot, but you've seen him uncork it when he thinks he has the space and time to do it. And it's crazy. He scored literally 3 goals in a row. The first, he scored 2 in that Stars game, and then he scored 1 in the Avs game. They were all blasts. It was crazy. Noah says, I had to rally up the chat with the Let's Go Rangers. Terrible. How did you even end up here, my friend? I'm curious. How do so many Rangers fans end up in here? But Luke says Ace just got hit on. What does that mean? I missed that. Natural Canopy. I know it's beating a dead horse, but Puck Empire is still adamant that Boozehound fits his interest in Pedersen. I really hope not. I want no parts. Mark, Claude used to end his warm-up shooting pucks into the opposing team's net. Dave Brown tried to beat the shit out of him for once. I don't remember that. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Ryder64, so you like anything that involves sitting down? Wait, what is that about? Is that about my interests? I mean, I like messing around playing roller hockey once in a while, shooting basketball, but these aren't, I wouldn't call these like interests. These are more like just like, I don't know. What constitutes an interest? Food is number one on the list. Don't forget females. I mean, that's a given too, man. Come on. Van Whalen, me and Noah jumping from Ranger Central and Big Apple Hockey to here. Are those channels, I'm assuming? Let's see. I'm not really versed in the Big Apple Hockey. What is New York area teams? Is that Islanders and Rangers? I'm looking at the channel. Big Apple Hockey. Okay, I'll check that one out. And what's the other one? Rangers Central. What's that? Obviously, it's a Rangers. Ranger Central. Okay. Oh, this guy got members. This guy's doing members only, huh? Members only videos. Look at this guy. He looks like a young fella. I'll look into that later too. I like doing market research. National Community. Hey, no, if you're going to be here, give Ace a like. Yeah, I appreciate that. Zibanejad looks like the front man for a stoner metal band. Oh, man. Thanks, Noah. Thanks. Is Dancing Larry still a thing? I remember that guy from back in the day. Is he still alive? Husky Unchained, I cook in an Italian restaurant, so what are you doing later, Ace? I'm going to have to go to sleep soon, and then I'm probably going to do, I guess, a trade deadline day live for, I guess, maybe I'll start my day with a nice Taylor ham, egg, and cheese sandwich on a toasted everything bagel. Maybe I'll start the day with that, and then just monitor the interwebs and have NHL Network on the television and just kind of, sitting, waiting, wishing, and talking about whatever other deals happen along the way before hopefully FITZ adds these two pieces we so desperately need. And maybe if I'm feeling extra crazy, just maybe I will drive my ass to the Rock tomorrow night to see the New Jersey Devils back in action. Maybe, just maybe. Zibanejad looks like he lives with his cousin girlfriend in a trailer park. Oh, man, you guys are nuts. Evan, stream tomorrow during trade deadline. Yeah, I'm planning on starting around probably 10 a.m. I'm thinking 10 a.m. Zibanejad looks like someone you'd see in a pawn shop trying to sell stolen tools. Oh, man. Jay says lower center of gravity for Brat. He's got trunks for legs. Brat definitely has to teach Jack some training tips. Yeah, he's a thicker man. He definitely, I bet you Bratter could squat a ton. Roman Checkmatic, Bratter won't get injured from BS. I could bring myself to really get that. I can't bring myself to really get that mad at Brat, even though he doesn't have an edge and is pretty chill. Mark Costanza, Brad is built. Look at his shoulders when he does locker room interviews. His neck is like a tree stump. Jack, Ace, your thoughts on Montclair State? On Montclair State what? The university? Montclair State University? What the hell do I know about that? I'm so far removed from college. God, I miss college. College, what an epic time. College is the greatest social experiment in the history of mankind, I think. World's worst gamer for sure. Donato, 0 goals in 19 playoff games. Sorry, but don't want a player that disappears at playoff time. I'd rather have Fabry. Interesting. Jack McCabe, when people talk about Jack on this channel, they're talking about me. I think they're talking about Hughes. LHM, Brat's training regimen is insane. Not sure if any of you have seen recordings of it, but he's always giving 110%. I would love to go and do like some sort of like summer training video with any of the guys. That'd be interesting. Just the ones that really get after it. I'd be sitting there like eating pizza, watching them lift the weights. I'd be like, this chicken parm is delicious. Marcus Danza, imagine trading Lindros for Forsberg, Ricci, and some other pieces. Quebec got the best of that deal for sure. Yeah, they got 2 cups with Forsberg on the roster. Ryder, be good, boys. Pray tomorrow isn't an underwhelming as today. See you tomorrow, man. Luke, Ace, let's get the bar meetup. Road game at Reds. We can all sulk when the Blue Jackets pass us. Boo's face says the window isn't open yet. Oh, man. That would be brutal, man. When is that game? Let me see. I would prefer not to go to Newark unless I absolutely have to. And the only time I absolutely have to go there is for a home game. Man. Yeah, that game's going to be big on Tuesday too. Wow. Yeah, we got Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Wow, we don't get 2 days off. It's every other for the next week plus. We don't get 2 nights. We don't get 2 days off until the 18th, 19th. Crazy. Tomorrow, Jets, day off. Sunday, Flyers, Monday off. Tuesday, back home for the Jackets. The 12th off. Thursday, back in action at home against the Oilers. 14th off. 15th at Pittsburgh. Off the 16th at Columbus the 17th. This is a huge stretch of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. Got to get 7 points minimum in those 6 games. Must get 7 points. Preferably 8. Stanley, you don't see Brat eating the boards every season. Dude is built. Jack has to develop strength and stay on his skates. I agree. Mark, so Ace, what team do you think the future Atlanta team will eventually move to after being unsuccessful? Wait, what? What team do you think the future Atlanta team will be eventually moved to? You mean what city would they move to after Atlanta? I'd have to believe if they go back there this time, I don't think it will fail because I feel like they would do way more research and whatever else to make sure that they're not going there unless they know to some extent it's going to work. But I suppose they could go there and it fail again. But I feel like if they're that convicted about going there, they have to have some sort of research or something to support that they'll do fine there. David Chimes, I can't believe people questioning Jack. He's turned into a fantastic two-way player who could post 90 to 100 points on a D-first team. People talk trash about Eichel being number 1 before he won a cup. I mean, David, let's be fair here. He's never played 82 games. This is his 6th season in the league. I mean, that's why they're questioning. I'm a Jack Hughes fan too, but you got to be realistic. He's now getting injured every single season. I mean, to say I can't believe people are questioning Jack, it's not like this has been 2 years. This has been 6 years, my guy. LHM, new NHL team called Camden Cockatoos. Mark, Ace, the incident with Lemieux and Brown is on YouTube. It was when Lemieux was with the Habs. Oh, you're going way back. Way back. Sandwich. Yeah, I don't really call them sandwiches, but, once in a while I'll just say it as like a joke. Trevor, Mark, or how we can't sell seats even though their lower bowl is full of suits. I go to Montclair State. Very nice. There was a good diner that used to be near Montclair State. They closed it down. It was a shame. I used to drive over there. It was a great diner, and it was open 24/7. Now I think it's like some crazy barbecue spot. I don't even know if it opened yet. Good college, accounting major too. Nice. Nice. Van Whalen, Ace, I think you and the guys from Big Apple Hockey or Rangers Central should collaborate when Rangers play Devils for a live chat. Would be awesome to see. I suppose I'd do something like that. I'm just not good at organizing stuff or like, I'm not going to lie, like reaching out to people and stuff. Like that's just not like my strength, I suppose. I don't know. I'm just struggling to figure out how to do all this shit on my own, for myself, like for just Devil stuff. But I should eventually try to, I guess, do stuff like that. I don't know. Mark, Brad had the Devils highlight of the year, in my opinion, when he came off the ice and checked the Blackhawks player, got the puck and scored. Oh, Mark, you're so silly, Mark. That was clearly the shift in the play of the year. And I actually uploaded that because a lot of people asked about it. A lot of people that didn't see the game or whatever were trying to see the whole shift. And so I'll drop it in the chat. For those of you that didn't see it or don't know what we're talking about, I called this the shift of the year plus the play of the year equals the goal of the year. And it's the exact play that Mark is referring to. I just dropped the link in the chat. What a friggin' play. Unbelievable sequence of events. I was going ballistic watching that. Natural Canopy, boys are going to have to dig deep. Big stretch of hockey coming up. That is a massive understatement, my man. Massive understatement. This stretches everything. This is it. This is the whole shebang. We are in the playoffs. This is the playoff. Evan, I'm going to Florida on Sunday. Very nice. I'm probably won't be able to catch your stream. That's all right. We'll be here for the rest of them. Damn, Sunday at 1:00. So, there's good and bad things about those for me. 1:00 games. Very interesting though. Husky Unchained. Good night, fellas. I will join you around 1 p.m. tomorrow/today. Good night, man. World's worst gamer for sure. I said to my son I'd be asleep by 2:30 a.m. So I'm up for the NHL trade deadline day when he knocked on my door in the morning. Good night, guys. Go Devils. Good night to you, Luke. 2-4 best case list. Markstrom is in beast mode, and if Booze Face makes the right moves. So is that a series prediction out in 6 games? He was clowning NJ, saying he's going to Atlanta. I couldn't fully comprehend what he was talking about there. Mark, Jack's offseason training regimen is playing Call of Duty nonstop. That's why he keeps injuring his shoulder. No, Evan, I know it's not open anymore. I said that. I said it closed down, and now it's like some weird barbecue place that I don't even know if it's open yet. I love that damn diner. Six Brothers Diner. Rest in peace, Six Brothers Diner. Pour one out. Stanley 62495. Be well, everyone. The rants will be epic later today. I hope not. If I'm ranting, that means the day went awry. The day went awry and did not go according to plan. Dr. Fruity Boots. I'm 51 on Saturday. I've seen all the Devils titles. I started watching hockey the preseason of the year they won their first cup. Very nice. I became a fan the season before during the 94 run. Jason says that sad shift of the year just shows how soft we are. That was a great shift, though. Teams actually play like that every game. I thought there was a chance we could. We got away from it. Natural Canopy, Allen. That was nearly 2 hours ago, my man. Roman Czech Monic. We're getting Pedersen retained for Nemitz and someone else. Mark it down. I certainly hope not. I certainly hope not. There's better targets out there. Heard the Rangers shopping Miller. What? Van Walen, Toronto looks so good without Keefe. Just saying. Natural Canopy, I really believe Pedersen is coming. Evan, it didn't get replaced, so it's just an unknown space now. I'm pretty sure there's signs up for some barbecue place. Oh, that's why I was like, what? Keandre Miller. Okay, that makes more sense. Oh, I don't know. Noah, have you ever seen the videos that Sean Avery does? Sean Avery does these hilarious breakdown videos. He hates Keandre Miller. I was dying. Watching him break down the films is hilarious. Miller's been trashed this year. Yeah, no, it's not on campus. This one's on Route 46. It's next to the huge gas station, that Tiger Mart with the gas station on 46. Are you familiar? It's that huge Tiger Mart and the gas station. If you're facing it, the diner was next to it on the right. Now it's like, I think it's painted like yellow and red maybe. And I'm pretty sure there's signage up for some barbecue place. I don't think it's open yet. Oh, wow. It's called Lee's Hot Pot and Barbecue. But this shit was supposed to open forever ago. I'll have to look into this later. Avery is a clown, but he's hilarious. Yeah, Avery's funny. I can't stand him from his thing. Same, but his breakdowns are hilarious. And the McDonald's is right there too. Ethan says, everyone chill. I'm currently getting McDonald's. It has a sign for BQ. Are you at the McDonald's near what we're just talking about? He actually thinks he should be the Rangers GM. David Chimes, fan since 89-90 season. Nice. Yanni Ohanen forever. Natural Canopy says, if it's not near the Bing, I don't want it. Sounds awful. Natural Canopy says, Ethan, you hammered, brother. Tip your Uber. Evan says, Park West Diner is still on 46 East. That's not the one I was talking about, though. I was talking about what used to be called Six Brothers Diner. It's delicious. Man, I used to go there all. I would even have probably went there right now if they were still open. All right, I'm taking a leak. It's a 2-minute warning, or I'm going to be gone for 2 minutes. Throw out. Oh wait, Ethan and Evan. Do you guys know each other by any chance? Wait, I need to know now. Does Ethan and Evan know each other? I'm so confused. I'm delirious. It's late. Ethan and Evan, are you the same person, or do you know each other, or you're both coincidentally Montclair State University students? Yeah, I've waited in some crazy long lines at that McDonald's, by the way, late night. And I blame it on the college. I feel like oh my God, this is hilarious. I have 2 Montclair State guys in here that didn't even know it. Would you look at that? One's Ethan, wait, what? What grade? First of all, who refers to college as grade? I'm so confused. I'm so confused. I'll be right back. I'm going to take a leak. And then throw out your last comments, whatever, questions, comments, yada, yada. Throw it out there. I'll start winding this thing down, and I will prepare. I'll have to prepare for the morning. Be back in 2 minutes taking a leak. All right. Wow. This is a marathon too. I'm so confused about the Montclair State, and then someone said what grade, and then someone said 11. I'm so confused. I think Evan gave him a multiple choice: freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and then said what class. Now they're talking about classes, and then he said, "Sorry, I'm drunk, Junior. I guess you're at McDonald's." Oh man, Van Whalen. No, I agree. Drury would trade Panarin and JT Miller for a number 2 McDonald's. Oh yes, I remember that. Microeconomics. I'm getting PTSD. Van Whalen, how much do you guys want to bet Ace has Devils merch in his bathroom? I do not. All of my stuff is contained in one area. I'm not a freak like that, like where I have Devils shit throughout my house. I do not. It's all in this area. I low key would rock a NJD shower curtain. I draw the line somewhere. I'm into home decor, so for me that'd be a little tacky. I have all my Devil stuff contained. Jack, glad to know we have some Devs fans at MSU. QQ says, I don't know about golden era of my life, but the early 90s were definitely the golden era of hockey. People who cry about low scoring just don't know nonstop action every single game. Oh, man. The 90s was insane. And for the people that want high scoring games, I would argue that a 1-0 or a 2-1 game is way more exciting to me than a high scoring game. One of the greatest games I ever went to, while it was a heartbreaker in terms of just actual gameplay, the Devils Stars Game 5 of the 2000 Stanley Cup Finals. I talk about it all the time. It was 0-0 through regulation after 1 overtime and after 2 overtimes. And in the 3rd overtime, Mike Modano tipped a shot past Marty to give the Stars the win and to foil the Devils' chance or the Devils' hope of winning the cup on home ice. And I think Marty had 40 saves and Eddie Belfour had like 48. It was a goaltending duel for the ages. Nonstop action back and forth. Probably one of the best games overall I've ever seen. Trevor, are you getting a pork roll, egg and cheese, or a Taylor ham, egg and cheese? Oh, it is a definite Taylor ham, egg and cheese, my man. Taylor ham for life. Jack, freshman year, walked to McDonald's on 46 in the rain from Bond Hall. It was closed to foot traffic, so tried to walk to the drive-thru, but they didn't accept me. Yo, that's happened to me once at a Wendy's. They were like, you need to have a car. I'm like, are you going to make me carjack somebody for this double, what was it? The double half pounder, the double quarter pounder, whatever the hell the big Wendy's burger meal was. They wouldn't give it to me through the window either. And I was like, you're going to make me carjack somebody. I'm going to have no choice but to commit a carjacking so I could get my burgers. I just want to change out my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one. All right, I think that's it. I think we fizzled out here. I DoorDashed 5 hamburgers at 2 a.m. and ate them all at Bond Hall. Luke, Devils led the league in scoring once or twice in top 5 in a few years. Yeah, they led the league in 2001 in goals for, and in 2000 they were number 2. So when all these idiots were going, oh, the Devils are boring and they play the trap, blah, blah, blah. We were number 1 in the league in goals scored in 2001, and then we were number 2 in 2000. So in back-to-back years, we were number 2 and number 1 in the league. Pretty damn good for a team that plays the trap, right? Crazy. All right, folks. That's it. I'm fading fast. It's been a marathon. I didn't plan on being on here all this time, but thank you for coming out. We started off on the night before the deadline. Now we are at the deadline, and we are now, oh my God, folks, 13 hours away. 13 hours away from NHL trade deadline 2025. Who will FITZ get? Who will he strike out on? So many questions. We will have the answers in 13 short hours. 13 short hours, we will see what FITZ is made of. Playoffs or bust. Cannot punt on the season. He owes all the guys in our locker room a little boost at the deadline to try to push this team into the playoffs and give them the best chance to go on a run. Hopefully we see at least 2 decent forwards brought in. Someone said O'Reilly and Donato. I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with McCann and Donato. Any sort of those 2 guys on that list that everyone's kind of been kicking around, I would be happy with, and I would call that a fairly successful deadline day, but we'll see. Sellers market, plenty of built-in excuses, injuries. Hoping not to hear any of that. I'm hoping for a victorious deadline day for Tom Fitzgerald and your New Jersey Devils. I will be back in the morning, and we'll just be on the live watch. We will be on the live watch waiting for something to happen. That's it, guys. I'm dead. Your boy is dying. Got to get some of my beauty rest. Jack, I think I'm going to try to go live at probably 10. Probably around 10. Maybe a little earlier. Depends. I'm going to say between 9 and 10. And I'll probably just stay on until 3:30. It's going to be a marathon, but really it's not that much longer than this. This has been 3.5 hours. Holy shit. Yeah, 10 to 3:30 is 5.5 hours. It'll be a new record long live, I suppose. But I guess, deadline day, baby. Deadline day. All right, that's it. Thanks, guys, for coming out. I'll see some of you tomorrow, and hopefully we get some good news together live on the program. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.